Welcome back to another episode of the Rollin' in My 5.0 podcast with KASL Customs and the Infamous Project. On this episode, we are joined by our good friend Kevin, who's down in the Lone Star State, giving Chris a hand around the shop as he tries to get ready for pits. Chris and Kevin get into some old school war stories that you're not going to want to miss. Cruising the streets of Peterborough, picking up chicks in a four-door Intrepid, ladies and gentlemen. We get into some old topics that we haven't discussed in a little while. We also talk about some current day events that I think are probably on everybody's mind. So with all that being said, we really hope you enjoy this episode. And if you could do us a favor, please head on down to the rating section of this podcast on whatever platform it is you're listening to and leave us a note. Let us know how we're doing, if you think we could do anything better, or if you just like the episode. Thanks so much for your time, and we hope you enjoy the episode. Record. Okay, boys, we're rocking. How we doing?
Yeah, all right. Yourself?
Hanging in, hanging on. I don't even know where to start tonight. I got all kinds of shit to fill you in on. I think you're probably in the same boat. And we got Kev with us. Fuck. Good night.
You know what interesting fact about Kevin here? I want to say out of like all of my like close current friends, he's the only one that hasn't owned a foxbody, but like almost. He was almost. Yeah. We can get into that story. He almost traded for one once upon a time. Yeah. But like he's been victim of being around them so long, like he actually knows a lot. Like you could throw him in a foxbody conversation and he'll get through just fine.
Well, and you're always fucking driving one of Chris's too, so
it's true. It's kind of the best of both worlds. You get the pleasure, but don't have the ownership. So
yeah, no
right.
Headaches.
Yeah.
Well, okay, I'll start off by telling you a little story. So, I guess, well, there's a couple people that checked in on me, like just saying, hey, you know, are you still coming to pits? And I'm like, did something happen that I'm unaware of? Now, something did happen on my end, but like not where, you know,
people wouldn't know. Like,
well, yeah, right. So,
and you're the only one that's got the fucking John Brooks shout out.
Out of the two of us, it's true.
Like even Lewis hasn't got one.
Somebody else did the other day that kind of like put me on my heels a bit too. I'm like, holy shit, they're coming. But they have been. Now, I wish that these things came up on Instagram, right? I know you're like me, like Instagram is my comfy platform. I get it. I know how notifications work. I go into Facebook and it's like, hey, somebody that you knew 30 years ago logged on. I'm like, oh, great. Like, what the fuck do I need to know this for? Like, you know what I mean? Oh, I find Facebook very tricky to navigate. And I mean, when you factor in the groups and everything else, it's just like you're drinking from a culvert at all times on Facebook.
Yeah, and then all the weird ads and the stuff that pops up. And then like what I really hate is like being part of multiple groups and then people who post the same things, and you see it normally like with for sale items, and it's like you see the same car for sale in like 3 scrolls across 4 different groups, and it's like I get it, but like when you post something, right, it's like, oh, do you want to post it here, 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 here? And it's like, come on, we're all part of the same groups. How many, like, is there a way to consolidate this? Like Facebook should actually find a way to like consolidate all the groups that you're on and like say, here it is one time as posted in group ADXW. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like instead of all this repetitive nonsense, like that algorithm isn't hard. Actually, we should reach out to, who was that? Our software engineer. Who was doing the scrape in there. Our pod guest.
I'm terrible with names at the best times, but I know exactly who you're talking about. Yeah, from Seattle.
Our Silver Notch guest. Yeah. He could write
Yeah,
that.
we can remember the car and the mods. Can't remember the name.
Bought it from the police officer in
Oh yeah, Colorado.
Colorado.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's true because and actually the John's registered posts are like that, right? Like he puts them in the foxbody addicts, I should say the real foxbody addicts. 50 Asylum.
Not to be confused with. Yeah.
Yeah. And then you get the notifications like, okay, somebody commented and you're interested to see what was said, and you go in, it's like, there's no comment here. Go back to notifications. Oh fuck, it's in a different group. Oh, like I don't even know if Facebook knows what's going on. Like honestly.
Yeah. Well, and I think it's frustrating for us where we have like a personal page and then our so-called influencer pages, right? And then it shows us the notification on our personal account that, hey, there was a reaction over here on your other account. Do you want to switch? And like, oh, you have a message over here, but you have a message over there, but you can't read it through here on your phone. Like, it's a shit show.
It is. The one that I find the worst is the Messenger app, or I guess it would be like pretty much a whole separate app within or outside of Facebook, right? Even though it is Facebook. If you were in your business page and then you got out of the app and went about your merry way, and then you get notifications, you go into the apps like, no, there's nothing in here, right? Well, it's because they're showing notifications from your personal page. It's whatever page you last jumped out of the app on is the one that it stays on or whatever. But meanwhile, people are messaging you on the other fucking end of it or whatever, and you can't anyway. I find Facebook very confusing.
Oh, and they're sleazy. You can never, like, I don't know if you're like me, but I hate having a notification alert active. Like, I do not want to see like the number icon that I have unread messages in my inbox. I don't want to have unread messages in my WhatsApp and my text messages and my Gmail. And Facebook, I swear to God, you could turn everything off. They're going to find something to notify you about.
It's true. And it's the stupidest.
You are going to open this app because we know it's going to drive your fucking particular list or particularities, because I don't want to call it OCD, nuts.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's unreal.
Yeah. Yeah. You can jump out of it and bang, you got 4. Like, I was just in there. No way. Okay. Anyway, rant over.
I'm sure a lot of people are relating to what we're saying, though. Like, it's just, it's too much. It honestly is.
Well, I guess it explains how so many people just spend, 90% of their day in that app, which is the goal of Facebook, right?
Kevin's got himself on a
timer.
A timer.
Give myself social media limit per day. So
you're real quiet, Kev. You might have to come a little closer to the mic.
There we go. Sorry about that.
You time it just to get yourself the hell out of there.
Yeah. I mean, after an hour a day between all social media platforms, that's enough. So
good for you, buddy. That's not a bad deal, because you can lose track of hours quickly.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It
adds up.
Yeah, it's true. Okay, anyway, my story. So we go to Vancouver last weekend for my 2 older daughters' provincial finals. The middle one, I didn't have to worry so much about, like, if she won that tournament or whatever. There was no further tournaments beyond that. But with my older one, there was not a chance. Like, if they did win, then they move on to Western Canadian finals. So the way that her team was playing in the latter half of the year, I was like, I don't think we got too much to worry about here, right? The wheels had fallen off a bit and they were a little scattered.
Oh, I know where you're going with this now, because I remember you were like, oh, there's nothing to worry about. Nothing's going to interfere with scheduling. We're good. They're not playing well. Okay.
Totally. I'll be fucked if they don't go like 5-0 into the gold medal game. And now like, okay, all bullshit aside, obviously you're cheering for your child and, you know, you want to see them win. But at the same time, I'm like, Jesus Christ, you know, like this is going to really convolute my life fast. And maybe I'll leave this part of the story out until after. So they're up against the team that they've pretty much gone back and forth with all year long. And the game is a true blue gold medal game, like low score. And it's when they do score, the other team answers, vice versa, right? Back and forth. Anyway, into the last 2 minutes, it was 6-5. I'm like, oh shit, here we go. And anyway, the other team starts pulling their tender, like they're putting in a hard effort. And Kaylee's team scores again. I'm like, well, fuck. Now what? So anyway, we go through the whole celebration. They get their banner and their cup and all the stuff. I get out into the lobby and I run into the wife and she's like, shit. I'm like, yeah, like this fucks things up bad, you know? What are we going to do? I'm like, I don't know. I said, just leave it with me though. Now, another little piece of the story is my mom met us in Vancouver and we were going to bring her truck back home here with us.
We're going to keep the miles off and do the whole truck exchange and all that.
Yeah, more on that story in a minute. So anyway, me and the wife were driving separate vehicles home. So I said, I'll take Kaylee. I think I can get this handled in like 4 hours, right? The 4-hour drive home. So anyway, I'm like, okay, got to play shrink. How am I going to do this? So we get in the truck. I'm like, okay, bud, congrats first and foremost. And I'm like, so, you know, are you kind of aware of what's going on now with you guys winning this? She's like, yeah, you know, we get to go to Western Finals. I'm like, yeah. And when is that? It's at the end of the month. I'm like, right. And I just kind of left it quiet in the cab for a minute, right? And I'm like, anything else going on at the end of the month? Yeah, we're going to Tennessee. I'm like, yeah, still nothing. She's not picking up what I'm putting down at all, right? I'm like, how are you going to do both? And then it hits her. She's like, oh, shit, right?
Sorry, Dad, I meant to throw the game.
And she's like, you knew this the whole time? I'm like, how could you not either? Like, you know, the date's the date. Like we all knew when this was happening. Oh my God, what am I going to do? I said, well, listen, I'm like, I think this is a really good life lesson for you. Like you've got to gather intel and make a decision. And really there's no best decision. You know what I mean? Like you're going to miss out on one thing or you're missing out on another. Oh my God, how am I going to do this? You know, anyway, we got home 4 hours that night. She's like, I think I'm going to go to Tennessee. I'm like, okay, great. You know, seats open. Let's do it. Wakes up the next morning. Her phone's blowing up. All her teammates are hitting her up. Oh, this is going to be so awesome. Right? She's like, Dad, what do I do? I'm like, just let it lie. See where, you know, your head and your heart goes. Anyway, by the end of it all, or by the end of the day, we actually had to start like making decisions on hotels and all kinds of stuff by like the following evening. So like Monday night. She's like, I thought I was going to have more time to make my mind up. I'm like, I did too, but I guess not. So let's do it. I said, what do you want to do? And I said, don't even think, just where's your heart leaning? I think I'm going to do the finals. I'm like, okay, then you're good, right? I'll call my mom and see if she'll come stay with you. Like, I mean, now we got to scramble. So I guess, yeah, long story short, there's 4 of the 5 KASLs coming to Tennessee.
Well, that's not bad. You know, there's
little safer in a fox.
Like your kids, they might be kids, but they have commitments within their own kid lives. Like, I think that's actually a really good lesson or experience to have to go through. Like, that's tough decision making, right?
Yeah, it's true.
Besides, they can come next year when you bring the Gia, right?
Yeah, exactly. Well, and with everything we got on the table and whatever, we don't need to beat this one up or whatever, go too far down the road, but like, you know, a lot of chat in our household about not really calling the North home much longer, right? So that was factored in, and that will be factored into this trip. This is, kind of not part of, like, Pitts is the end destination, but hey, we're going to spend a lot of time in a truck. Let's figure some things out. Let's see what this whole spending extended periods of time down here is like, So and I threw that at her too. I'm like, hey, you got to think about that as well, So anyways, yeah. And actually, funny enough, nobody ever really talks about this or even asks me any questions about it, but it's like, I'll take a picture and have all 3 kids in the back of my car and nobody ever says anything, right? It's like 2 in 1 seatbelt, you know what I mean? Like, cause that's how we roll. And, yeah.
Well, technically you don't use yours, so there's an
That is
extra
true.
available.
That is true. Okay. So now my mom's pickup. And I think I told you, Chris, offline. I'm like, listen, I'm like in a lease and throwing 10,000 kilometers or more on a fucking lease is not going to end real well for me. So I thought, well, shit, maybe I'll call my mom. She's got this 2017 F-150. And like, it's got, I don't know, 25,000 miles on it. You know what I mean? Like, she barely ever drives. So I said, Ma, can I borrow your pickup for this trip? Right? Oh yeah, it'd be great for the truck, blow the cobwebs out of it. And I go, okay, great. So we do the swapperoo here on the tournament weekend, and I bring it back here, and then just I'm trying to go through my head like, okay, what do I got to do to get this truck ready? I'm like, yeah, it's got the hitch package and all the shit. And then I'm like, where the fuck are the trailer brakes in this thing, right? Can't find them. Doesn't have them. But this F-150, I don't know if they still do this on the new ones, but like you can literally, I haven't tried it yet, but you can steer the truck from a dial. If you're backing a trailer up, you look in the screen, like it's a fucking idiot way of backing up. If you don't know how to back a trailer up normally, you probably shouldn't do this either. But anyway, it's got the hitch. It's got this backup system. It's got like towing in the dash settings and all this shit. No trailer brakes. So anyway, I jump online, find a trailer brake, but then I've got options to have one that it should have came with, like a Ford OEM kind of one. I'm like, well, what's this all about? Can I just plug this bitch in and be done? Turns out, technically, yes, but you need to have your ECU flashed to tell the truck to turn all these options on, right? Fuck me. So anyway, I go to the shop last night. I'm like, I got to get this thing in, like the brake switch itself, and then I'll figure out how I'm going to get the ECU flashed. Honest to God, 6 minutes later, the dash is out of this truck. Like, not removed, but like every panel's off. Everything. It was like 6 screws. And I had like the whole nav system's on the passenger seat. It's Lego. It blew my mind.
Huh.
So anyway, got that rig in, and then I tracked this dude down today. You ever heard of this? Forescan?
Yeah.
Okay. So, and I guess maybe I probably could have downloaded it to an old PC of mine or something and done it myself. But anyway, I found this guy. $80 later, we got trailer brakes. So all this bullshit, you know what I mean, going on in the background, we're still moving. We're moving south still. We're in the right direction. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. It's, and I mean, I guess this is how these things always go. You know what I mean? Like I don't know if it's the universe testing you to make sure like it wants to see that you really want something bad or what it is. But you're just like, could I just like think to myself, hey, I'm kind of ahead of the curve, right? I got a couple weeks. I could get my laundry done. I could do all the shit I need to do. No, not at all. Right.
Well, I felt the same way, right? So it's been a hustle trying to get the yellow car ready and figure the logistics out. And like, I'm feeling okay. I did super idiot move today. So we drive up to Waco to K Design's place to drop it off so he can do the stereo outfitting. So park it in his garage, and need to pop the trunk. So I grab the keys out of the ignition and I hold up the keys that has the little Detch immobilizer chip. And I'm like, by the way, you got to plug this thing into the dash in order to start the car. And then I hit the auxiliary to pop the trunk. And then we start talking about the trunk. Well, at some point I put the keys back in my pocket.
Oh.
And we leave and we come all the way back. We stop for barbecue, a couple other errands, and empty out my pockets. And I'm like, no fucking way. So I messaged, he hadn't reached out at this point, and I don't think the car really needed to move, immediately. But I'm like, dude, I'll overnight the keys to you tomorrow. He's like, yeah, no, that's fine. But still, shitty thing, right?
He even asked you walked out. He's like, is there anything I need to do to start this? And you're like, yeah, just stick the immobilizer in and fire it up. You're good. Didn't even realize.
Hey, is there any process to that immobilizer other than just plugging it in? I know I put it in there. Like, I drove the car a couple times. I can't remember.
No, it's literally just putting it in there. And it's, I kind of traced the wires, and there's a lot of them. Like, I want to say there's probably 8 or 10 wires that come off of it, and they're all intertwined into different circuits on the driver's side kick panel.
Oh.
So, probably, because I know the fuel pump doesn't turn on, ECU relay or ECM relay doesn't turn on. And there's probably a couple other wires, probably fuel pump wire or something else in there that it's impacting as well. Obviously, whatever, you're technically cutting and putting this in between everything. So yeah, if you're trying to hotwire it and you're like, oh, I'll just send power to the coil. Well, that's not going to be enough. And it's power to the PCM. Right. That's not going to be enough. So, once you plug it in, you're good. So it's just kind of closing the circuits, I think, across each little connection point on that chip.
Right. Yeah, really, when you think about it, that's all it is. Right?
Yeah.
Huh. Yeah, it's fairly simple, but effective. I mean, I guess until the connections get all grubby and, don't want to connect anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah. Huh. Oh, shit. That sucks. So, is there an easy overnight to Waco?
Well, the good thing is, even postal mail is it's overnight because it's so close, right? When I do an order, because LMR is in Waco, right? So if I order something today, I'll see it tomorrow, as long as they shipped it out today. So, of course, I'm going to put tracking or something on it because I don't want to lose the, one of the fucking chip things for the immobilizer, nor
do you got two
for the alarm. Yeah, I do have 2.
Okay. Huh.
The question is, I'm curious, and maybe it'd be something, a little test, because Steve has it on that T-top Detch car. I want to know if my chip would work in his dash.
I was wondering that.
Or if there's something in there that interfaces the female portion to the male plug, if you will.
Yeah. No, that's true. Because I would lean towards it probably doesn't, especially explaining it like we kind of are, it just closes the circuit, right?
Yeah, I would hope there's something else in there, because otherwise, back in the day, as long as you had one, you could walk around and be like a master key.
Right. Well, I guess like any lock, right, keeps the honest out, but because you still need the key unless you're hot wiring. But yeah. Huh. Interesting. Yeah, you'll have to try that out and see. Do none of your other Detch cars have that on it?
No.
Okay. Huh.
No, the only one.
Interesting. Yeah. Yeah, and you got the exhaust done on it? Well, the tips.
Yeah, so he ended up redoing the whole tail, over axle section on the driver's side. So remember, originally when I first got it, it had a piece of pipe strap holding it because it was rubbing against the tire. And then, I got my guy here locally to I had a used tailpipe section. So he just kind of put it in again, temporary, so things wouldn't rub, but no pipe strap, knowing that I was going to redo the tips. So, the guy's really good, man. Took his time, and he was like, come over here, make sure, hold the tip where you want it. Like, is it in the right position, oriented the right way, and all this stuff. So I actually got to like hold it while he tacked it in place. So the only person that can be responsible for misalignment's me.
Well, that's not a bad call on his behalf, right?
Yeah.
Can't have the client come back and give him shit. Huh. And do those tips, do they go 2.5 to 4?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. I don't like, to me at least, right? Because like 4-inch tip is, I guess, if you just had a normal LX, you wouldn't be after a 4-inch tip. But like between diesel guys, or if you got a truck, like a 4-inch tip isn't like, that's what is on the Lightning coming out the side, So
yeah.
I'm surprised they discontinued them. Like, cause like I like that. I think it's like only like a 15-degree slash or something. Like it's very subtle. It's not like a huge 45.
Yeah. You know what? I can't really think of a place where a 45 even is called for, Like,
because it either sticks too far out, right? Because it's like, oh, you need to see the tip, and they'll line up like the bottom of the 45 with the bumper. Then you got these big ankle busters sticking out, or knee busters. And then it'll go the other way where they'll put the tip like flush with the bumper or whatever, and then it looks weird.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because I mean, you're kind of going for like a similar contour, right? So, yeah,
I think they look good on an IROC.
I had a buddy with an IROC and he had 45s on it. It didn't look right. Like, yeah, because I mean, even at the bottom of a bumper, you're still going to have sort of an angle in. And as long as you're following that angle, now everything kind of speaks to each other.
Yeah.
But yeah, 45's just, I don't know, too much. I mean, yeah, like even you think back to old square body Chevys, and like, sure, you've seen these like out both corners with a 45 slash. And it's like, why not a 30 or a whatever that, you know what I mean? That lower degree.
Where 45 actually does look good. It looks good on like a big rig with stacks. Like they look good when they're vertical.
True.
So maybe that's sort of the idea. People thought, oh, big rig's got these big tips sticking up, so let's just repurpose. Shit, I don't know.
Yeah, something, hey. Okay, and then I mean, well, I guess you've kind of ran it around a little bit around your house, but like up to Waco, no rub, you're good to go suspension wise.
Yeah. Even the exhaust shop was like a 45-minute ride each way, and it was like a good mix match of stoplights and good speeds and everything. And no, man, the car, like both me and Kevin were in it. Rode pretty good. Like I'm trying to figure out the conies. Like they don't have clicks. You almost have to like count the rotations.
Oh,
so like you just spin, right? And it's just kind of got like a resistance to it. So the back was like a little too soft, and then I turned it up, and then I think I might have turned it up too much. And then of course I threw all the weight of all the stereo equipment in today to go up to Waco. So I feel like that had an impact. So it'll take a little bit of fine tuning from that side of things, but wheel and tire fitment's like bang on. Exhaust is good. The lowering, as well, you would know because I sent you a picture, right? Of, it was level, and then I was concerned that once the weight's in the back, that it's sort of, do I raise the rear or do I lower the front more? And I opted to lower the front more. So, and it's sitting with all the weight. It's like dead level.
Nice.
Yeah. So I'm happy with the way that it turned out for sure.
Now, are you?
Sorry, I was going to say, I wonder with those panels that Keith is making, if you'll be able to access the adjustability, or if that's a factor.
Yeah, I might have to pull the back seat rest out and do it from in there. That'll be the only thing.
Right.
Yeah, I'm sure Keith is going to have that fucking thing closed up, and it'll be some weird, because I I brought the panels that were made originally to the car, which amazingly enough, that back panel, the opening, the slit for where the hinge for the trunk lid goes down through, I could actually get my arm through that little hole and spin the dial.
Okay.
But I guess if he leaves something like that open enough, then maybe I'll be able to get my hand in there, or maybe I'll ask one of your kids with like a skinny arm to hey, get in there, turn that knob for me.
Totally. Yeah. Dial it in.
Yeah.
I know, speaking of dialing in, well, I got insurance on my car the other day, which was good. I come to find out, I wonder if I should even say this on here, because yeah, whatever.
They tell you not to cross the border,
or no, but my so I never insured the green car last year, and I've got 92 LX50 personalized plates. So I was always of the impression, at least this is how British Columbia worked, is that as long as you let your insurance expire and you didn't go in to like cancel it early, you could keep your personalized plate indefinitely. Well, and again, my mom, even being in insurance for all those years, she couldn't remember if they maybe just changed it or what. But because I didn't insure the car last year, they'll only hold your personalized slogan for a fucking year.
So yeah. Out of curiosity, okay, this is interesting because, I complain about Texas being so expensive. So to have a personalized tag here, like the Dutch one that I got, and what they do is they try and get you to buy multiple years, up to 5 years in advance. So they're like, instead of paying annually like $120, buy 5 years and you're only going to pay the equivalent of like $75 a year, but you got to pay it all up front. So that kind of adds up, like even at $100 to keep your personalized slogan. That's why actually I got rid of the infamous tag that I had on the Stalker Vert, because I was in Dubai and it was like, okay, I came and drove the car once a year. Like I don't, you know what I mean?
Right.
Care to pay the $100 just to have that tag. So, yeah. Whereas in Ontario,
it's plate to owner.
Yeah, like we would complain there because we didn't know any better, right? We were just like, we only ever registered cars in Ontario, and it was $300, right? Like out of the gate to buy this personalized tag, but you own that motherfucker for life, and it cannot go to anyone else. So like once that's owned, I think there is a way, like if somebody like turns in officially and like cancels off that they don't own them and blah, 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 there might be a way, but in most cases, who's going to do that? They're going to hang the tags on their wall. They're going to keep them, or you know what I mean? So where we used to complain, now I'm like, man, Ontario is a great deal.
Well, shit. This would be the first time that I've ever said this about British Columbia, but it's an even better deal than that. It's a one-time application fee of $100. Now you have to, I've just, like, as my story goes, just found out you have to insure it every single year, as one would anyway. You know what I mean? So I guess unless you're tearing your car down for a couple of years, actually, I don't even know if I should ask them if there's an option to keep that tag, even though you're not insuring the car.
Dubai had that option, right? So if you sold your car, but you wanted to keep the tag, because the tags in Dubai is like almost like a investment strategy, right? Okay. Lower the number, sequence of numbers, all this bullshit, right? Worth lots of money. So like if you sold your car, but you wanted to keep the tag, you'd pay like this $20 holding fee.
Yeah. Oh.
And then you'd be able to just kind of keep ownership of the tag, even though it's not in use.
Right. Okay. I remember that. I think like Ireland and the UK, same thing. Like people really look for, and it's not necessarily in like the personalized realm. It's more like the regular digits. And if you've got digits that kind of resemble, your whatever 355 and like all that shit, those are sought after, and people like pay money, big money for them.
Oh yeah, Dubai is a numbers game, man. Like people will try and match. Like the less numbers, the better. Ones and zeros are great. Sequences are great, but they'll like try and match. Like if you got 5 digits, they'll try and match those 5 digits with the last 5 digits of their phone number. And then they'll like be packages for sale online that'll be like, oh, mobile number and number plate for sale together.
No
Like,
shit.
yeah. So like, just to, I guess the best way to put it is if you owned a Ferrari 458 and you had the number plate F458, the plate was worth more than the car.
Holy, really?
Like that's how much. Like a 2-digit number plate, I think was like what, 1,000,000 dirhams, which is like 400,000 US dollars to get a 2-digit number plate.
That's crazy.
And 1 digit, don't even, like if you're white or if you're anything but Emirati, don't even think about it. Like that's royal family, sheikhs, all that stuff. You're dreaming if you think you're getting a single digit. But even dual digits, like it's like it's really hard to fathom. Like even when I'm saying this, I feel like I'm speaking a bunch of bullshit. And then you get there and you're like, this is fucking insanity.
Huh. Well, that's interesting though that they even do less than the normal amount of digits, right? Because like here in BC, like all you can get is like 3 and 3.
Oh, they started at 1.
Yeah.
So they started with no alpha preface, started at 1, went through, and then A with 1, and then 2, and then I think the max number is what, 6? There's 6 on there now.
7 numbers.
7 numbers, right? So there's 7 numbers, and I think now they're into dual alphas. So like an AA or an AB, and then so like of course every time a new alpha comes out, they're trying to get that low number of the new alpha,
right?
But like if you got a double alpha, it's like you're nobody. It's like when you get that, you move to to Vancouver and you get the new area code.
Right.
People will be like, what is that?
Yeah.
You don't have the right area code, you know?
Yeah.
Totally.
There's an episode of Seinfeld on that once, wasn't there?
I think so.
I think like someone got a phone. Who was it? Maybe Elaine or somebody. She had to change her phone number, and it was like, what's this number? Like, where do you live?
You're a nobody, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I guess, yeah, because I mean, me and my buddies, and especially having my mom work in an office that would insure your car, she'd always save us like the 69s, right? So that was about as intense as we got. Yeah, so I guess again, go back to my story. I said, so there was some bullshit process I could go through, essentially like I was going to reapply for my plate. Now this is in the hopes that no one else has grabbed it since then, right?
Because you let it lapse, it went back out. See, that in Ontario, that wouldn't have happened. Doesn't matter if you don't register the vehicle, you sell it, whatever, that it's not an option anymore. So in your case, I guess the advantage you'd have is you pay the $100, but you don't need to wait the 4 to 6 weeks it probably takes for them to make it and mail it to you, right?
No, this is where things get real cockeyed. So I said, okay, so what do we do here, right? And she goes, well, you need to bring me the tags, fill out the form, we'll courier it over to them, and then when they approve it, you can have your tags back. I'm like, well, then why do I have to pay $100 to do that? You know what I mean? This just doesn't, like, I get it from the red tape bureaucratic side of things, but I'm like, this is fucked, right? And she goes, yeah. So then I asked her again, I'm like, what if someone else has got this tag? She's like, well, then you're shit out of luck. I'm like, well, I'm not giving you those fucking tags. Like, they're going to hang on my wall, just like my first one that says 50HHHH, right? And I said, to be honest with you, I wouldn't mind maybe reapplying anyway and maybe getting KASL or something, right? So anyway, I went down there yesterday. I got just a shitty generic tag, and they're ugly. Fucking, we got bad looking plates up here. So, and anyway, applied for KASL, and I was going to just do one option. You know, they'll give you like 5 variations that you can apply for, because the $100, it's $100, but non-refundable. So like if you sent in,
are you telling me they don't tell you if it's available or not when you
no,
apply?
no, it's a
Fuck
fucking
off.
lotto. Yeah, you're just rolling the dice.
That's
Through
unbelievable. Like,
snail.
I do it all the time. Like I log into Florida or Texas, wherever I'm registering something. You go in and you check the availability before you like pay for it.
Not in British communism. We don't do that here.
Man, somebody sold some old software to them indefinitely. That's just not smart enough to pop it out. I bet they're probably locked into like 2050.
Well, and this was the thing. So the gal I had only filled out the one line. I said, oh, I did okay on the first two. Like, I got the one that I wanted. So I'm like, and the chances of somebody having KASL, I'm like, whatever, that's probably pretty slim. But then she goes, you're sure, you don't want to throw any other options in there, right? Because like this is non-refundable, and throw snail mail in the mix and everything else. Like you're not going to know for 6 weeks or whatever. I'm like, oh, fuck. I said, okay, like KASL 50. And then I go to the third line. I'm like, what do I do? Like KASL 1? Like this is sort of stupid, right? So anyway, I went with 2 options, hoping I get the first one. But long story short of all this, or short story long, I kept the tags and I'm like, fuck it. As soon as I cross the border, those other ones are coming off. Like,
well, I was going to tell you what you can do is use like what I've done, like with the Menace plate and something else, right? Like you can go on to eBay or whatever, and they have every state and province and get them to make you a KASL BC one.
Right.
And then at least, yeah, like whatever for showtime, throw it on there.
Yeah. I know, because it's one of those weird things. Like once you get used to seeing a personalized plate, it's weird to go the other way. Back to normal.
Generic and ugly look. Like honestly, every time I look at the back of the Stalker Vert, I'm like, this could be so much better.
Yeah. I know, it's a weird thing that gets in your head. And I guess if you never had a personalized plate or something that just looks a little different there, you wouldn't know. But I mean, the fact that you've got that Texas like black plate Detch imprinted in yellow, I'm like, come on. Like
I got asked the other day, like, is that real? I'm like, yeah, it's real. But like that was the luck. They literally just introduced, because Texas has always been a printed flat surface plate. For the longest time. Like back in the day, they were embossed. But like for the longest time now, just like a print screen thing. And they just released embossed plates again. And it was like this whole big thing around the holidays. Like, oh, if you buy 2, you get, fucking 25% off the second tag. So I bought, that one because I was like black and yellow. Hell yeah. And then I got the M5 low, or I'm slow, as I like to call it, for the M5. Yeah. And of course, you only get the 25% off on the one that's the lesser of the two, which the generic white and black Texas Star is like a third of the cost of the new fancy black and yellow option. So whatever.
So that's a new thing, like in Texas, like you can get a black and yellow plate.
Yep.
Oh, interesting. Because I mean, I can't really think of too many other vehicles, maybe a black pickup or something that a black and yellow plate would look good on. But like your car is a home run. Like it's a no-brainer.
No, when I saw it, I had to have it because I was like, and it was one of those things like you don't expect to drop $600 on fucking plates. Because of course I bought the long terms, right? I don't want to pay the annual, more expensive shit. And I'm like, well, there goes $600. Fuck.
Quite honestly, they're probably missing a massive piece of market. Like if you could go into, insure whatever vehicle and you're like, you know what? I really want a blue plate with pink writing. Okay. like we can do that. It's going to cost you $1,000 or whatever. You know what I mean? But because like, why not? Like, what is
I
the
think like obviously there was like security, like police visibility to know, you know what I mean? That's the whole front plate or two plate versus only having one plate, debate. But I think now, especially like toll roads probably would have been a big deal. But now like photography and all the technology is so far advanced that I think now it's like, oh, we can make all these different tags. Or like people are so transient now. You know what I mean? Like there's tags from every state or people from all over the place. You know what I mean? So it's not like you can expect to just see the same old, design on every vehicle. So, and like Florida had it right for the longest time, man. It's like $30 for a personalized tag, and they were like the world record holders of, I guess, options. Like I think they had like I think they have over 100 different plate design options right now.
wow?
Like it's just like you scroll through. It's like, are you an animal lover? You like cats? You like dogs? You like marine? You like whatever? Like any type of
See,
theme you could imagine in color.
well, this is the thing. Now, we could maybe get lost going down this road, but when you think about like just something like that, we'll start there. So Florida approves 100 different plate designs, right? Or whatever the number is. And then you come say here, and it's like, no, we have a collector plate, a personalized plate, and the regular plate. And that's all we do because of all these bullshit reasons. And it's like, how does Florida do it then? Like, there's no crossover from place to place. And then, you start getting like weird and wild on the next handful of topics, like tinted windows, right? Like front tinted windows. And you go to one, I mean, Canada's all fucked, but like you could be from one state to the next, like, no, that's too dark. Or the next state goes, no, you can't have any at all. And like, actually, I don't know. Is there any states that you can't have any front tinted windows?
That's a good question, actually. Because like I know Texas, it's legal to tint your windshield to a certain percentage.
Right.
At least I'm
Because
pretty sure it is, or it was, or maybe they might have. I don't want to put my foot in my mouth. But yeah, I'm pretty. At one point, it was because I remember I like went raised. That's why Stock Reverts got a tinted windshield.
right. Yeah. Like it's never, well, I can speak for British Columbia and Alberta, never been allowed. Alberta was more lenient, but this is another thing. Depending on the size of the place that you live, I think people get it in their heads that maybe the cops are a little more lenient. It's like, no, they just got better shit to do. If you live in a town of 1,000 people, you're fucked if you have front tinted windows. Like they'll come to your house,
I know where you live.
Yeah. And I got a lot of front tinted window tickets in my day. So I was always curious every single time. I wanted to know what that cop's answer was for why it's illegal, right? And actually, there was a thing where you could have tint, but it had to be behind your face. So, like, I don't know, some people toyed with that and did like diagonal, like top of the back window to the bottom of the front, which is kind of a cheeky move, and people still got tagged for that. But I don't know. So their argument always was, if you get T-boned and the glass comes through and sticks to your face, your insurance will not cover gluing your face back together because this is an aftermarket modification to the vehicle, on and on and on. I'm like,
Man, I've seen tint hold broken glass together instead of it fucking shattering on you. That is the stupidest thing I've heard.
Yeah. This was the most consistent answer that I got from the cops in my hometown.
Somebody like sat a bunch of people in a room and are like, okay, let's come up with the best, worst fucking excuse to tell people for this bullshit stuff. Because like in reality, they just want to be able to see what color the skin of the driver is.
Well, yeah, probably, I know, because that kind of goes down to like the whole percentage thing too, right? You're like, the argument is, well, we want to see like, if we're coming up on the vehicle, if somebody's pointing a gun or whatever, but I hate to say it, it's probably more along the lines of what you said. Now, fucking world we live in, man. Anyway, that was always their argument for why you couldn't have it. And but then my response would be, why do they do it in the States then? Right? Well, their insurance down there must be different. I'm like, okay, whatever. Maybe I'll give you that. But I'm like, and at this point, I know I'm already fucked. I know I'm getting the ticket, right? So now you can kind of whatever lean in on them. I'm like, well, what if I don't give a shit about my face? And this leads me into like seatbelts too. Like, I get it. A lot of people have been saved. I know at least more than I can count on one hand, people that have survived not wearing their seatbelts too. Like, one buddy of mine ended up hitting a telephone pole, like essentially rolled into the telephone pole. So his roof hit the telephone pole, right? And he wasn't wearing his belt. And however, I mean, this is sheer like God luck, but he ended up essentially standing like you would sleep across the bench seat in a regular cab truck. He was standing in the cab, like hugging the pole.
Jesus.
However, his truck rolled and he got jostled around, but he's like, had I had my seatbelt on, like my face would have been gone by that pole.
Yeah. Well, we have a friend who rolled his car and he didn't wear his seatbelt. Same thing. They said if you had been in your seatbelt, it would have strangled you.
Right.
Like,
now, I have had a lot of seatbelt tickets in my day too, as you can probably imagine, because you've already lit me up about not wearing a seatbelt. And I ask why, like, why do I have to wear this? Right. Well, it's actually for the other driver's protection. Like, what are you talking about? If you get in a head-on collision with another car, you become a projectile. I'm like, fuck off. Like, this is ridiculous.
oh, yeah.
Yeah. So there's a lot of bullshit. And I mean, the more, I guess, not that I'm like worldly traveled like you two are, but like, I don't know, I've been around. And really all you have to do is get around Canada and the States and you go like, huh, why is that good here and not there? That doesn't make sense.
Yeah. Well, it goes right down. You can keep it even simpler, right? Like a safety inspection.
Yeah.
Right. Why in one state they don't need them, and then the next state they need them, but the other state can come and visit this state and never had that inspection. Like,
yeah.
Same thing.
Okay, dude, I'm glad you brought that up, because that was like another thing I was going to bring up to broaden this conversation is, so if I'm rolling with tinted windows in a state where it's legal, I'm good. But the minute I go back home, I'm not good. Like, what? Someone make this make sense, please,
Yeah.
So, well, there was a thing too. I remember bringing this up.
The state where you can't then writes the tickets to create more revenue.
Yeah. This is where it's all boiling down to 100% is just, it's a cash grab. So they, in Invermere where I grew up, the speed limit out along the highway that essentially connected all the towns together was 90 kilometers an hour, 50, I don't know, 2 or 3 miles an hour. And they increased the speed limit to 100, like just before I moved out away from home. And I'm like, huh, like, because the speed limit technically is dictated by like, the curves and the, like, is it safe to drive at that speed on the road, right? And all of a sudden some fucking pencil pusher decides, oh, we can crank this thing up by 10 clicks an hour, right? No big deal. I'm like, I've got a lot of tickets on that highway. Do I get my money back now? Right?
Actually,
and
so your Alberta no window tint, right?
No window tint. Yeah.
Is it legal to have a window tinting business?
Yeah. So anywhere that I ever got it done was like, you didn't get it done here, right?
So like the cops just like, would they not just hang out and wait for a freshly tinted car to roll out and be like, whoop, let's strip that off?
They could. And I mean, I think the workaround, because yeah, you would think, especially up here in communism Canada, they would do something like that. But I think the workaround was like, no, we're tinting back windows here, right? None of that front window shit. Yeah.
I gotcha.
Yeah. It's yeah, I don't know. It just unless we're all gonna agree upon the same rules, which don't get me wrong, like I don't think we're a smart enough society to have no rules, even though I'm a big supporter of no rules. Unless we're gonna agree across the board on all the same rules, then I think we should be revisiting a lot of this shit, you know?
Yeah.
And have them like form from a base of logic, you know? If not, yeah, you got everyone like us going like, what? Come on, you know?
Yeah. Well, what is it? What'd you get? Imitating the snowplow?
Oh yeah, blue lights in the front.
Like
blue lights in front was imitating a snowplow.
Yeah, I think I had like underglow, and they were blue, and I got 6 tickets in one go, and yeah,
one stopping.
Yeah, so like improper muffler motor vehicle, window tint,
blue headlights probably.
Oh yeah, blue headlights too. And then like back when they had those like just starting to come out with the halogens with the tinted bulbs. So
yeah, the xenon thing or whatever.
Yeah, like they looked like they were all gassy colored, but they'd shine blue. Which now same thing, right? It's what did HID end up producing? The exact same shit.
Yeah, so that was just I think I still have a stack of tickets. Just keep for memories. I probably have 35, 40 tickets just from the small town where small city where Chris and I met. And yeah, it was kind of like you go for your loser lap, and you're bound to either come across a cop or something like that. So you're just waiting to see, okay, where are they coming after? Are they looking? And back, had pretty big stereo. So, they'd hear you coming a couple blocks down the street. And next thing you know, it's like, okay, like, are they pulling out? Are they looking? So it's kind of like a cat and mouse game every weekend, trying to see what you could get away with.
Isn't that funny? I remember my mom saying this to me like years after I was kind of in the loser lap mix and everything else. And she's like, come on, Gare. She's like, level with me. Like, you guys enjoyed it. I'm like, well, now that I can like reflect upon it, I'm like, yeah, all of that shit probably wouldn't have been as much fun had we known that the long arm of the law wasn't going to be looking for you, right? Because like you said, Kev, you wanted to see what you could get away with, right?
Yeah. And I think you have to reflect on the friendships that you formed while, you were going out there and meeting up with people with cars, and just kind of like just the socializing. And, I think that a lot of those friendships are formed and last a long time. And, that's how people get passion on, their vehicles and what kind of, I guess, drives their future to a certain degree.
Yeah. It's true, man. Actually, speaking of friendships, I can remember going back to see my mom years after I moved away. And so there was this cop that he would fucking pin me to the wall any chance he got, right? Like, honestly, I think he was probably the one that wrote me definitely the most amount of tickets out of all the other local cops. But he's probably the one that got my license cut up for 3 months too. That fucker, right? So I'll never forget. I was going to school. I was going in the green coupe, and I had my headlight covers that had been freshly painted green, right, to match the car. And I'm like, fuck, should I put these on? And we're talking real small town too, boys. Like, I mean, it would have taken me 4 minutes to get to school. You know what I mean? So I don't got to go very far. I'm like, yeah, fuck it. I'm going to put them on. And it crossed my mind. So this cop's name was Elmer Ryder. And I'm like, no way Elmer's going to be out this morning, right? Dude, like 2 minutes after I left the house, I'm in the middle of the fucking drive. Only 2 cars on this silly little corner. Fucking Elmer. Boom. Cherries. I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. Like, I literally thought, should I or shouldn't I, before I left the fucking house? And I think that was the ticket that put me over the limit. Like, a month later, yeah, send us your license, you loser. You've got way too many points.
Oh.
Yep.
And it was for the headlight covers.
Yep. Oh, and so speaking of friendships, Kev, few years or a handful of years later, I go back home and I needed something from the local parts store. I go walking in there and I kind of squint. I look over at the counter. I'm like, motherfucker, is that Elmer Ryder? He's working at a parts store now? I'm like, Elmer, what are you doing here? He's like, holy shit, Gary. I'm like, yeah. You still got that fucking car? I'm like, yeah. The one you fucked me in like 1,000 times. You know what I mean? What are you doing here? Oh, I retired from the force and, I'm just kind of trying to stay out of the wife's hair. And now I'm working the parts counter here. I'm like, no shit. Like, well, if this part doesn't work, I'm going to come back and fucking throw it at you. You fucking
How the tables turned.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I could actually remember another time. Now I'm naming cops' names. I don't know. Is that good or bad? They won't hear this, but Scott Romadnik was another one. And he was a younger guy, like grew up in our valley and then went away. And typically with the RCMP, they'll get shipped to like some outpost and fucking Nunavut. You know what I mean? Like they really want to test them to make sure they want this, right? So that poor fuck went up there, lived in an igloo for however many years. And then, as luck would have it, they posted him back in his hometown. And being the younger cop on the beat, right, we kind of knew who he was and stuff. And then he'd come out and play beer league hockey with us too. So we got to know him through that. He'd come out to the bars because he was, young enough. He was still kind of into that. And I'll never forget, dude, we brought him out of the bar one night. He's just shit-faced. And he's got these 2 broads with him. He's like, hey, Gary, you got to give me a ride down to the beach. I'm like, fuck, it's 2 a.m. What do you want to do at the beach? We're going skinny dipping. I'm like, with who? These 2 broads. Okay, fuck it. Let's go. I'm like, the next day, mom, right? I'm giving her the download. What happened last night? I'm like, you're not going to believe it. I was skinny dipping with Scott Romantic and these 2 broads. She's like, the cop? I'm like, yes. So anyway, like, again, to your point, Kev, like relationships, I can remember coming back into town and how you sort of came into town was like, we came down little flat where the lake was and you kind of crawled back up the other side. And that's where the whatever houses and shit were. And it was late. I can't even remember where the hell I was coming from. I was in my green car and I came down that hill and up the other side like I was on fire. I think I just wanted to get home, whatever. And Scott Romantic was sitting at the top of that hill. Cherries, I look down, I'm like, holy fuck. I'm going like 75 miles an hour in a, 25 mile an hour area. And mom's house wasn't too far from where he turned the cherries on. So I just pulled into the driveway and I got out of the car. He goes, Guy, what the fuck? I'm like, hey, remember that time we went skinny dipping? He goes, get in the fucking house. I do not want to see you out again tonight.
Oh, that's great.
Keep that one in the back pocket.
Yeah.
Yeah. But no, I mean, I can't for the life of me make sense of all of the shit that is so different from one spot to another, Like you were bringing up the inspections, like, and then, some of these places, California and the emissions, right? And I don't know, the smog, whatever. I'm no like geologist or whoever the fuck it is that studies all that stuff. I mean, I'm sure there's something weird with the way that, the winds come off the ocean and shit just sits and doesn't move. And there's a lot of people there, right? So maybe there's an argument to be made for it, but like, I don't know. It just, yeah, the stuff doesn't all add up to me, you know? And I really like to operate off of like from a place of logic. And even like you're saying, the inspections, like you can see a vehicle rolling down the road, tie rod ends fucking blown right out of it, ball joints gone, like
Ultimas.
with
yeah.
Yeah.
With the what, Kev?
with a Florida plate.
Yeah. Yeah, because they don't have them there. Like, you know, for the stuff that they'll pick you apart on in an inspection, you know, and then you see stuff like that and you're like, come on, you know, like that thing's probably not liable to stop at the next crosswalk for a kid. Like, Jesus.
Oh, no, there's just too much disconnect, man, between the governments and the policymakers and everything else. You got people with old ways, old thinking of doing things, and don't want to, adapt, or change is tough. It's like going for the fact that you have to write in your plate options and nobody can check in a database. Like,
Yeah.
you're there ready to pay the money for the tag. Like, if they come back and say, oh, none of them are available, you know what I mean? Like, if they tell you that, they're losing business.
Yeah. Well, and once I got out of there, I called mom and I'm like, hey, Ma, do you remember anything about this? Like, for some reason, I thought you used to be able to check. And she's like, yeah, we used to be able to, but I think it was like somebody she knew on the inside. Like, it's never really been an official thing. But to your point, yeah, I know it's like, what? Because we're going to sit here and play this snail mail game for the next handful of weeks. And hypothetically, they could send me a letter back going, sorry, your plate options weren't available. Like,
yeah,
how is this a good use of anyone's time? But there's probably a fucking department, right, that looks after all this, and they're justifying their, salaries.
Maybe you should do a little documentary, like how a personalized tag is made in British Columbia, and just document the whole process. Go see what they're doing, what they're having for lunch, who they're sleeping with. Some real car enthusiast reality TV stuff. We want to see. We want to know.
It's like back in the 80s when they had those like shorts, or like how a bill is passed. Just kind of go through.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, this is the thing. I mean, it would not hurt. I don't think any province in Canada for sure, to have like an Elon running through the books and going, wait a minute, what are we doing here? Hey, speaking of which, me and the wife watched Trump's address the other night, right? And we're pretty caught up on the latest and greatest and, what he's been talking about. So if you haven't heard it, I would say nothing really new came out of it. If you've heard all his other little stints, you kind of know what he's talking about. But have you guys heard the Social Security thing that has come out of Elon's findings?
They want to abolish it, don't they?
I didn't hear.
He wants to, rather, or suggests.
So what they found, and I mean, I think at this point it's just like whatever, hot topic news. Like they still have to confirm that this is actually going on. But I'm going to screw these numbers up. But trust me when I say I'm probably way under what the actual numbers are. So they have something like 2 or 3 million people that are getting Social Security, like old age.
That are dead?
Dude.
Yeah.
3 million that are like 100 to 109. 3 million. It goes all the way up. He said there's one person in there that is 250 to 300.
That's a database. That's an entry error in the database. And with all the people, that's not that bad. But yeah, like that whole.
Yeah, I saw that. Dude, 5,000 people that were over 150 years old or something like that.
Okay, more than that. Like, I think it wasn't until you got like up towards the 200s, it was getting into the thousands. But previous to that, they were in the mills or like hundreds of thousands.
You know what it was? It was Y2K. It messed up the system.
Yeah, maybe. Or there's people out there with multiple social security numbers, and I don't know. That's what it's really looking like. Is there's a lot of people that got their hands out and nobody said anything for years, and the old rooster's coming home to roost.
Well, and who's going to say anything, right? We've all been there where it's like you move into a place and it's like, oh, the electricity's on already. Oh, the water's on already. Oh shit, you know what I mean? Or the cable works.
True.
I'm not going to call in and order new cable if the cable's free. Like,
yeah, no, that's a good point, right? I'd like to think, or I guess that maybe hope that shit, that's the wrong way of saying it too. Like, I think a lot of this is more nefarious than anyone would like to admit, but yeah, if this is just a case of like, yeah, shit, power's been on for years and I didn't want to say anything. Okay, right, I'll give you the pass. But I think the fuckery runs pretty deep,
No, I think you're right. And it would explain, right? Because they talked about for years, like they were going to run out or there's not enough money for the boomers who are retiring or whatever it is. Well,
if you'd stop paying dead people, you might be off onto a good start.
Yeah.
So
this is it,
yeah, the living get the priority.
Yeah. Well, and some of these other expenditures.
Do you know, is Tupac getting paid?
He might be on the list, him and Biggie.
Oh.
Yeah. I mean, and some of the other things that they were tossing money at, I mean, it'll curl your toes. You're like, what?
So here's one. Tell me this. How is the lunatic that scammed everybody out of the fire festival able to run another fire festival?
I know, dude. Wasn't that last week you and I kicked this around?
Oh man.
Yeah.
It's just such I don't understand, right? It's like bad PR is good PR. It's like people always want to, you know what I mean? Like at the time, it's like, oh, I got scammed, fuck him, stole my money. But I bet you it's all the same people that are probably the first ones to go and buy tickets again. And that's the problem with society, right? Like it's the same thing and in various senses, like whether it's the government or you could say the same thing, you know what I mean, about a lot of different individuals. And it's like, oh, it's you follow this sheepish trend, but meanwhile, deep down, you know what I mean? Like it's unreal.
Well, okay. So Kev, how long have you been down at Chris's now? A couple days?
Yeah, a couple days. Yep.
Okay, so you would have been back home and seen all this ruckus that Mr. Ford's got going on out in Ontario, right? Pulling all the booze off the shelves at the LCBOs.
Yeah, I heard that. I heard the LCBO website was down while they were removing all the US booze. And it's, I don't know. I mean, I'm not a frequent purchaser, but it should be interesting to see what happens. But
I know I'm exactly the same as you, right? It's not like I would have heard this and ran down to the store or whatever. Now, I haven't heard any of that going on over on the west side here of things. But and in case anyone's missing what we're laying down here, this is all part and parcel with this tariff ruckus that's been going on recently, right? So yeah, we got all these Canadian fucking figureheads that are going, yep, we're really going to show the big old bad US. It's like, holy fuck, man. This is like, remember Nintendo Punch Out when you had to fight that big fucking guy?
Yeah.
Smarten up, like, what are you doing? And they're going to do it with booze? Like, come on, And this is Canada. Like, I said to the wife, I'm like, shit, where this is going to get real ugly is like vegetables and fruit. Like, we got, well, and I mean, I don't even think we utilize it, but like the western half of BC would probably be the only place you could fucking do anything in the winter as far as like greenhouses and stuff are concerned. And we've never done it because we buy it from the US or Mexico, right? And I'm like, fuck, that could get ugly quick. But I did actually kind of question though, like, is this gonna sting me on parts? Like, I don't know.
Oh
You
well,
know?
so I'm right now. I'm in limbo, right? Like I can't bring any Godzillas in without.
That gets stung.
Yeah,
Really?
yeah. So and the only workaround is telling the supplier you need to reduce the cost by 25%, because if you don't, nobody's gonna buy them. Yeah, but like I'm curious too. Like even like if you were to go like for a crate motor, that's fine. All the ones that are here. But if Ford needs more motors, they're all out of Windsor, Ontario.
Right.
So
Well,
once the current prices are sold, right, then it's like Summit or Ford or whoever you're going to buy, something that's from, like they need to be able to get the motors from somewhere. Like I don't think it's going to last. Like I think it's one of those things, like you said, a bunch of people are going to get fucked, pay 25%. This is going to rectify itself. And it's like, can I have my money back, please? And they're going to be like, no, go fuck yourself. But
yeah.
um,
Well,
what
apparently
I'm
it's been
interested to
paused
see,
again.
what's that?
Apparently it's been paused yet again.
That's not what my broker told me the other day.
This was just a headline I caught when I opened
It
up
happened like today.
YouTube. Yep. Trump has claimed they're paused, finish your thought and then I can run down this road, but
I'll be interested to see, like, if it isn't put in place or whatever, if Mexico can sort their shit out before Canada.
right.
That's sort
Yeah.
of what I'm very interested to see. Because Canada, of course, is all up in arms, and that's all we hear. Like, I don't hear about any bullshit of Mexico complaining or having and maybe it's just the way the media shows it or whatever, but I would actually think like there's a lot of manufacturing that happens in Mexico that is shifted
Yeah.
there. And you know what I mean? There's a lot. You want to talk about produce and everything else, like there's a lot, and there's the population of Mexico, right? So like I'm very curious on why all the hype is around Canada and actually
Yeah.
not the other way.
Yeah. Yeah. Good point. Did you catch Donkey Fix It story the other day about the GTD?
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, that's the shitty thing with stories. So I guess by the time anyone hears this, his story will be long gone. But essentially, he ran the rough math on what a GTD would cost an American because they're made in Canada. There must be a work through on that though. Hey, like even though they're being produced in Canada, it's still being produced by an American company in a Canadian location. It probably gets sticky. But
Still, even if it's an American company in Canada, like the weird gray area is that underneath NAFTA, any North American made vehicle, right, is free of duties. So whether you import from Mexico or Canada or the US or anywhere in between, there is zero duty. Yes, you pay your tax, right? I think the tariff rule trumps all of that, where it just says we don't give a fuck of who or NAFTA or at the end of the day, if it's coming out, and that's why he said the VIN code, right? So the VIN code dictates that it's a Canadian made vehicle, not a US or a Mexico made vehicle. Therefore, that VIN code is what's behind the tariff. And right to, I guess, kind of finish what you were throwing down is that a bunch of people have put deposits, which are non-refundable, which I believe were 50% of 365K or something like that, which now is 365K plus 25%.
Yeah, which is like another 80K.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, okay. Now, not that I want to say like, oh, hey, you got the money, you probably got nothing to worry about, but chances are if you put 50 down on a GTD, meh, right? You're not going to be losing a fuckload of sleep. But yeah.
What I'm curious to know is if you were an American buyer could you not have the vehicle delivered to the US? Could you ask that it stays in Canada? And then you, as an American, go to Canada and you register the vehicle on your passport, because this is completely legal to do. I did it while I had nothing to do with Canada, right? When I was in Dubai for 10 years, I still bought shit in Canada. I would register it underneath my passport because I didn't have. Here's the craziest thing. You don't even need a fucking driver's license.
Really?
You literally, if you have a passport from another country, or in my case, it's still my Canadian passport, but I didn't have a Canadian driver's license. All I had was my Dubai driver's license, but they didn't care. They just took the passport. Here's the registration. Have a nice day.
Holy shit, hey?
So the loophole here, if you could avoid it actually going on a truck and getting delivered, keep it in Canada, register it there, and then wait until the dust settles.
But are you sure you can
Right.
register it on like another country's passport though?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So Canada could become like the new Montana for Canadian built cars, I suppose.
Well, I mean, yeah. If
the dealerships thought about it, right? The dealership would say, okay, let's not take delivery of it here, leave it over there. And like at the end of the day, if the buyers did want to back out, I'm sure there's other people that'll pay that fucking 80K. Like we deal with that when any new car comes out and people are paying 80, 100K over SMRP just to say that they have it. You know what I mean? So like, it's like you said, that amount of money, it's almost trivial.
So if they later on export it from Canada and it's depreciated, then technically, I mean, if the tariff still exists, then I wonder if you'd still have to pay the original value or whether that would be adjusted.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah, and how does that work on used shit?
Yeah.
Like
it'd be weird to like, because like even for instance, right? I had, what did I buy? Because you took it across. It was something like the supercharger or something. Yeah. Because there was something like Kevin took it, had to pay the duties. And then there was a way for me to like claim my duties back because it like temporarily went into Canada, but then he like flew out of Canada to Dubai or something.
Yeah. So back in, I guess 2012, I went over to New York to grab a supercharger, a Paxton for the Viper truck. And it got shipped to the UPS store right across the border, come back across. And the guy's like, oh, anything to declare? No, nothing really. Just, supercharger picking up, but I'm flying out. And he's like, what? Hang on a second. I had no idea what the value of it was. And so I just like out of my ass, I'm like, yeah, I think it's, like $600, something like that. And he goes and he's like, oh, wait a second. So he pulls me apart, checks everything, starts trying to look. And he's like, I can't find anything. I don't know what to, he's like, I'm just going to have to take your word for it. I'm like, okay. So he gives me the bill to pay whatever it was. And I'm like, okay, so how do I get it back? I'm taking it out of the country. And he said, once you leave, if you give us proof that you've actually left. And so I bought a hockey bag. And when I moved to Dubai, I took everything in a hockey bag. And I paid extra for the extra weight for the baggage. And all I did was send them a receipt for the baggage from Air Canada or Emirates rather. And a couple months later, they sent me the difference. So, yeah,
unreal. Yeah, I know the whole this probably like doesn't even make sense to somebody that says lived in the deep south and you know what I mean, never had to fuck around the border or whatever, because especially the Canadian one, like Canadian American, because there's just so much bullshit that doesn't make sense at all. I mean, hell, and it's country based too, because like if I send something to the States, it's like you just receive it like you would expect to, right? It's not like no. Before you get this, you have to pay this, this, and this, and duties and taxes and all this shit. It's like, Jesus Christ. It's essentially like we as Canadians have lived with tariffs our whole lives.
True.
We
Yeah.
just tariff ourselves with duties and taxes and shit. Right?
Brokerage
Whereas,
tax.
yeah, brokerage fees. Fuck. Whereas, yeah, to now the Americans, if these tariffs come into place, like, hey, now you actually, shit, I can't remember his name now. Classic LED. He made a post about this a little while ago, and he said, yeah, due to maybe, I don't know, this was the first time they toyed around with putting these things in place or whatever, and he got hosed with some sort of like higher price due to tariffs. Maybe it was something from China or something. And I reached out to him. I said, hey, man, I feel bad for you, but, you know, if it makes you feel any better, here's what I paid just recently on, you know, X amount of shit. He's like, oh, my God. Yeah. Like, I'm not fucking lying here. It's terrible.
Yeah.
So wild.
Well, people are just going to get creative, like I said. Like, I don't know if that loophole will work, but it's all conversations people are going to have. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? It's like, let's find a workaround or whatever needs to be done, or it's just going to be, hey, let's, do you just want to wait on the delivery of your car and just hold off?
Yeah. Well, and that's the funny thing that I don't think people really realize is like these tariffs, like, funny enough, they actually, like, on the surface, it seems like you're charging another country more money for something, but it's actually the opposite. Like, if you want, like, if Trump says, hey, we're going to put 25% tariffs on Canada, that means as an American, you now have to pay 25% more for that thing, right?
Yeah.
Whereas it's sort of sold in the inverse. Like, oh yeah, we're gonna fuck these guys over, right? It's like, no, 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 no. And then in our infinite wisdom, right, we go, yeah, we're going pound for pound, tariff percentage for tariff percentage. It's like, whoa, fuck, you know, like, stop.
Yeah. What do we have anything to worry about? They're the ones
Yeah,
paying. Yeah.
totally, you know.
Oh,
But then, I mean, I guess for people like Jeff, right, and the steel works and stuff, like, those people are the ones that are going like, whoa, like, I don't think there's been a lot of sleep in that poor bastard's house for the last few weeks, you know?
no.
Um, aluminum, you know, like, resource related shit is where it really gets goofy and sticky. But yeah, I don't know. Anyway, yeah, going back to like the headlines, I just seen that Trump kind of paused whatever he was trying to do there. And at this point, because this was all announced like in January, or at least it was toyed with, right? We're now in March, and it was supposed to come in February, and then, oh, okay, wait, we'll give you another 30 days or whatever. Then March, oh, wait, you know, we'll give you another. And now it's like, yeah, we're paused again. Like, hey man, I know from my kids, like, if they get a sense that you're just going to warn them the rest of their lives that they're not doing something right, you're going to have some hellions on your hands. Like, you need to follow through. Swift backhands need to take place, you know? Like, so I don't know if I was on his advisory team, I'd be like, dude, fuck pausing. Like, you got to
But
stick
part
to
of
what
it,
you say.
though, and I go back, I think I mentioned it last week as well. Is it just to stir and shake people up? Like, especially in Canada? Like, it's not that the US or like an individual in general is wanting to say that they're better or want to hurt the best neighbor that you have next door to you.
Right.
But at the same time, it's like you realize your neighbor is a fucking drug addict and they need an intervention.
Hmm.
What do we do to help shake up the whole fucking country that's literally in shambles due to the leadership that's been going on? And again, bad news being, or bad PR is good PR. I think it's just an extremely impressive media strategy / tactic to help Canada get its fucking shit together. And I actually saw someone put a post up of exactly what I said last week. Like, stop focusing on the US and worry about your own fucking backyard. And that's what the person's meme was on Facebook today. Like maybe could just very well be that. It has nothing to do with tariffs. It has nothing to do with resources. It's like, let's just get, our family back on track so we can get back to business and actually solve some real problems.
Yeah. Yeah. Just put a little heat under their feet. I couldn't agree more, buddy. And then the other side of this, I don't know, this is just my way of looking at all these things a little deeper, because you've obviously got, the heads of state, in our case, provinces, country, whatever, coming out and going like, giving these speeches, right? Like, oh, we need to pull together, and hey, we're going to tough guy this, and we're going to pound for pound that. There's a movie. I wish I could remember the name. It's a new movie. You can find it on the streaming services. And it's a fictional movie that takes place in current day, as if there were a civil war to break out, right? And it's actually a pretty neat movie. It's all kind of from the journalist's perspective. So they're kind of on the front line, and they're all essentially marching towards Washington, right? And anyway, they show clips of the president at the time doing his thing, like, listen, everybody, everything's fine. We just need to, pull together. The whole front is calming down. Like, it's all this, it's propaganda, really. Because you're, as the viewer of the movie, watching this from the journalist standpoint, you're like, holy fuck, man, this doesn't look like it's calming down at all. Like, you're in trouble, right? And then the end of the movie, they end him, like, they capture him, and whatever, the Civil War is now over, right? But it left me thinking, right, like, all of these news conferences and all of this whatever hoopla, right? Like, oh, we need to rah pull together. Meanwhile, camera stops. He's like, holy fuck, we're in trouble, right? Like, this is not good at all. Like, I don't know. We're all feeling it. So that must be the reality,
Yeah.
But yeah, like, going toe to toe with the US. Come on.
Well, it's the worst time of year as a Canadian, right? Like, no fucking daylight, cold weather,
tax time,
snow, taxes. Like, you couldn't catch people at a worse time, or maybe it's the best time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's some people that study human behaviors and all of these crazy things. So, all right, maybe this summer is going to be the best summer all of us have lived in a long time. Who knows? True.
Yeah. I don't know, man, where it all ends up going. We'll see. You can't say that we're not living in one of the most interesting times ever. Like, there's just no shortage. If you're paying attention to this stuff, which I try to limit myself. Kev, I got to get like a timer going like you, but because the news cycle changes so fast, right?
Yeah.
You're like, what? Whoa, shit. I didn't look for 20 minutes. But yeah, I don't know. I asked my mom this, and I mean, shit, that gal lived through the Vietnam War, like, she's seen some shit. Actually, as a kid, her dad went to World War II. So she's seen some stuff, and she goes, yeah, none of that compares to like current day. Like, this is just drinking from a fucking fire hose.
Oh,
it's wild. But anyway, we got into this last week. I haven't heard any comments on whether or not folks enjoyed that little rant we went on last week about it all. But
yeah, that was towards the tail end, right? You don't know how many people actually listen all the way, or like, it's another question too. Like, I'm not an avid podcast listener. Like, if I'm flying or I'm doing something, quite monotonous, and I try and catch up on the 5-0 Asylum guys. But like, I know you actually listen to quite a bit of pods, Gary. Like, do you, like, they section them off pretty good, right? Like, to sort of say, oh, they're kind of talking about this within these points, and like you can kind of fast forward and like choose what you want to listen to, if you will. Like, is that a thing?
You know,
Chapters.
Yeah, like a chapter breaking up thing, because like YouTube does a pretty good job of that.
yeah. The ones that I listen to, I'd say they don't. They're more like ours, like just a conversation. So, if you, I don't know, fast forwarded 20 minutes in, you'd be like, oh shit, I better go back. I don't really know what's going on here, And I find I like these ones, like, because I guess depending on who you're listening to, if they know how to tell a story, you feel like you're there, you're along for the ride and stuff. But yeah, I think probably the more promotional ones that are out there would be like that. Like, okay, it's almost like a commercial break, right? Now we're going to talk about whatever. Whereas, yeah, these just flow,
Yeah, and who knows?
So,
Kevin asked me if we had an agenda. I'm like, dude, we never have an agenda.
hell, it's from the hip all the time.
Like, sometimes you do have a list, though. Sometimes it'd be like, oh, wait, let me refer to, I wrote some notes down.
Well, yeah, but okay, if that ever happens, though, it's like we get going down so many different roads at one time, and I'm like, fuck, and we're both heated on the topics. I better write this down so we can come back to it, right? But
Yeah,
actually,
I found out about an hour ago that I was gonna join, and not really sure what to expect, but appreciate having me join, and apologies that my storytelling ability is not as refined as yours, so do my best.
Kev, you're perfect, dude. It's awesome, man. And it's funny, like if we have somebody on, that's usually like one of the first questions too, right? They're like, "Okay, like what do I need to know?" Right? Like it's almost like prepping for an interview. I'm like, nothing. Like you want to talk about fucking tires? Let's talk about tires. You want to talk about fuel grades? Let's talk about fuel grades. Like whatever,
Yeah, so actually, it's a good time to actually engage Kevin here. So Kevin had an Intrepid of all things back in the day.
Kev.
Yeah,
Really?
I think I sent you a picture of it.
Yeah.
This is yes.
Yeah, so I think one of your podcasts, maybe about a year ago, you were talking about seeing one going down the road, and you're like, I haven't seen one for years, and so I sent you a picture of mine.
Yep.
I mean, it's one of those things, right? I mean, I'm not proud, but I mean, you do what you got to do, right? They're your wheels, so you gotta kind of personalize it.
Totally.
Yeah. So I mean, I think I painted it about 3 times. It was lowered. It had
hold on. So before he painted it,
oh yeah.
so to actually give the history, right? So Kevin's a year older than me, year and like 9 days.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I was probably 17 or 18.
You were 18.
Yeah. So Kevin was like, he moved to my small town because he went to college, right? So he was new to the area. He was a college guy. I was still in high school. So it was coming up on like the big spring May 2-4 weekend, which is sort of like Victoria Day weekend, or no, sorry, not Memorial Day weekend in the US.
Yep.
It's just 1 week off. And the big thing to do there is to go to a place called Wasaga Beach. And it's just a strip of whatever. It's like you wish you were on A1A in Florida, but it's like literally like half a mile long. Like it's really lame in the grand scheme of things, but it's all that we got, right? So we had a mutual friend, but we didn't know each other at this point. I only knew of Kevin, and I knew of this Intrepid that had said big stereo in it. And so the mutual friend of all things had a Pontiac Firefly.
Ooh, nice.
So again, like this is working with what you got when you're in high school, right? So it was like his grandpa's car or his dad's car, I forget, something, dad's commuter car. Grandpa passed away, left him money. So he literally built a wall in a Firefly. 6 Rockford Fosgate 12s.
No.
The rear door glass windows would roll down, and the amps where the rear windows would roll down to keep the amps cool. Like cut springs because they don't make springs for a fucking Firefly. You know what I mean? And like a pearl blue with pink pearl paint job. Like the thing's pimped out. Under the neon tubes, purple neon tubes on it, the whole works. So I'm like, and of course, you want to be in the car with the bit loudest stereo when you're at doing any fucking loser type strip long weekend ordeal, right?
You got to be seen. That's right.
Yeah. So he tells me I was supposed to ride with him. So he tells me, "Oh, I'm bringing this girl. There's no back seat, so now I'm out." You know what I mean? I'm like, "Fuck." He's like, "You can ride with Kevin," and I'm like, "Kevin?" And all I had heard is him losing his shit, punching, kicking his fucking car, and his car had dents. Like the first body shop actually complained that there was like 62 dents on the car they had to fix.
That's excessive. It wasn't exactly like that, but I mean,
I'm telling a story, making it. It's based on inspired by a true story, or true events. So like, I didn't know Kevin. Obviously, it's like a different guy, and so that's how we ended up meeting. Because it's like, well, whatever, and from there. So from 18 to now, which is pretty much 44, he's just turned 45. Okay. So he's known me through like a lot. You know what I mean? So almost every car I had, and
couple ex-wives.
Yeah. Life events. so that's how I learned about the Intrepid. Yeah.
It was all due to a Firefly, and the Firefly having a bird in the passenger seat that you and Kev even met.
Yep.
That's fucking wild, man.
Sorry,
okay, so then Kev.
So Kev,
you got the Intrepid.
Yeah.
4 doors, more horse. Right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah, two 15s. It was lowered. Had the old crooked license plate in the back. Shaved the trunk lid. Shaved the rear handles. Yeah, it went through many renditions, but it was just kind of just a project, just a passion, right? So you go out and you work on,
buddy. Relive Intrepids for me. So I know that there were different editions. Like you could get one that had a bigger power plant in it, right?
Yeah. So this was just a pretty much normal 3.3.
Okay, and then what, you could get a 3.6, is that right? Or 3.8?
I think they had the 3.3 and 3.5s.
And that was like the Sport or something, right?
Yeah, the 3.5s were the Sport. So
right. Of course, you had
the
what do you have? Straight pipe?
Yeah, straight pipe with a what do you call it? Like a glass pack.
Yeah. So here's the best part. Kevin somehow managed to master manually shifting his automatic to sound like it was a manual.
Come on.
You just knew when it was about to shift and just hammer it. And
like he'd do this thing and like blip the throttle at the same time. So it'd have like this weird little delay in it, and it'd fuck people up. There's like set up like a manual Intrepid. And like he'd get so aggressive with it, he broke the fucking shifter handle right off the one time. So yeah. So I had to drive this thing. There's vice grips in it to put it into as the gear selector. Because it was like on the column shift, right?
Oh, right. Yeah, they weren't even a center console shift. Oh, well, and it must have only been like, what, a 2-speed with overdrive or 3 in overdrive?
Yeah, I think it was a 3 in overdrive. So
yeah. Holy shit, dude. So, okay, it wasn't the Sport, but you made it sporty.
Yeah, I had the there's like a skirt package. I had them put on and everything like that, and just did the fog light front bumper.
They had a decent look to them. Like they had a decent profile.
They did, and like wheels and stance fixes any car, right?
True.
And that was a thing. I remember actually. So he tried to cut his springs, and because they were progressive in the way that they were designed, the fucking front springs kept falling out of the seat pockets. So I don't even know. I've roped him into many things, but he's roped me into. So he ends up having a squatted Intrepid because they fucked the springs up. So they put factory coils in the front, Meanwhile, the rear were like a normal linear. So the rears were cut. So it's a squatted Intrepid. And he makes me drive this thing like an hour and a quarter to the spring shop out of
Oshawa, was it?
Oshawa, yeah. And so they're up in their like warehouse going through bins of like just miscellaneous springs. So they're a spring shop. So they finally found something. I don't even know what they came out of that they managed to cut and cross-reference that would fit the seat pockets. So he was the only one with a lowered Intrepid.
Holy
Really
shit.
good though.
Yeah. It's like the things you go through, right? It doesn't matter what car you have. Like if you're an enthusiast, you're an enthusiast.
Same shit, different car. Yeah. Holy fuck. So yeah, because those things would have had a big trunk too. So 215s was no problem.
Yeah.
What, facing towards the license plate?
They were flat. So
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that trunk probably like shaped in around the wheel wells, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it actually I mean, back in the DB drag days, it did okay. I mean, around like 152. It was quite loud. So, yeah.
Fuck, man, I haven't been in a like proper like idiot loud stereo car in ages.
Yeah, I can't like honestly. I think the last stereo car was like when that guy invited us at Foxtoberfest that had those 8s.
Yeah, but like, and now that was impressive, right?
It wasn't like SPL like we're blowing hair around and shit, but like that. Honestly, like I'm just saying, like it's almost like a lost art. You know what I mean? Like not too many. Like I know people are still doing it, but it's definitely nothing like when we were growing up.
No, and I mean, as much as we tried to pay attention to like, you know, the mids and the highs and the this and the that, like we didn't. It was how much bass can you make?
Actually, I was the exception to the rule. I went for the highs. I tried to install as many fucking tweeters as I could. Actually, I got tickets for just my highs because I didn't even have subs in the car yet. I was like a fucking PA system down the road. Oh yeah.
Yeah, because like bass is what like that's what you heard coming.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. I know.
That's
I think
partially why I shaved the trunk lid just to get rid of the taillights so there was no rattles. I ended up I dropped the almost like truck lights down into the bumper and yeah, so I ended up sectioning another bumper and filling in the license plate, and then took these truck lights, put them in the lower bumper just to avoid any rattles. So yeah.
So this thing, like, you went to great lengths with it.
Yeah, you worked with what you had, right? So
true. So whatever happened to it?
Ended up, I think
I drove it to its last before you sold it.
So I mean, I stopped driving it in the winter. Probably, I don't even know, probably 15, 20 years ago, whatever it was. And Chris and I had it was sitting at Chris's house, and I moved to Ottawa, and just ended up, he took it down to my parents' shop.
Well, I made the deal for my old BMW back.
Oh, right. You and Jordan took it down to my parents' place, and that was where it's at. And I think my mom was selling house back probably in 2016, and I just threw a Craigslist ad up, and some dude came and bought it, and I think it got $1,000 for it.
No shit.
Yeah.
Eh?
I needed it gone. So
wonder if it's,
and you had 30,000 into it.
Probably, at least. Yeah. I mean, I sold off all the stereo stuff and the wheels and everything like that. So,
but the memory, everything else, right? Priceless.
That's kind of the shitty part with all this stuff, right? Is like, I don't know. It almost be like saying, you know, I don't know, maybe it's a terrible thing to compare that to say the Mona Lisa, but like, you know what I mean? Like a lot of time and effort, and you know, like if you had that car sitting here right now, right, you could be like, oh fuck, like I remember this scratch, like everything about it, you know?
It's true.
Yeah. And so like, and I don't know, I mean, maybe this will hit a little harder like 20, 30 years from now, right? When we're like really old and gray. But I don't know, like this is what shapes us is shit like this, you know?
And here's the craziest part. He had an opportunity to trade it for a foxbody.
Oh, okay. So this is where the Fox comes into the mix.
Yeah. So I don't even know how
did he want a 4-door or something?
Yeah. So we went cruising one night, and I think we went down to Oshawa. There's like a beach area. We were just kind of like a place to go, and they usually had like races set up every Friday, Saturday night. I think Steve was talking about that last week, and yeah, basically we just ran into this guy. He had like a '86 hatch.
Was it T-top?
It wasn't a T-top. No sunroof. It was nice. It was actually pretty decent. I think it had a 306.
But it was a really like nice purple paint.
Yeah.
Like it was like proper, really
well done.
clean. But like a 4i, right? Which whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a built motor, and it sounded good. I wasn't too keen on the 4i, but yeah, he wanted to do pretty much straight up because he was having a kid. And yeah, I kick myself in the ass every time. Literally, first night I had it. So we swapped cars for I think a weekend. So yeah, I mean, didn't even know the dude, but swapped out. Like, okay, let's see if we'll switch. Yeah, definitely pulled out of a buddy's place and lit it up, and of course, undercover sitting there. So first night I had it, got a ticket for unnecessary noise, and I'm like, okay, this is not going to go well. Yeah. So, but
holy
shit. It ended up not working. I think I pulled out. I'm just like, yeah, I don't think this is for me. But yeah, I think about it often where I could have gone down that path and ended up like you guys, but maybe
totally.
But yeah.
Huh. So what year would that have been, Kev?
Probably would have been
early 2000s.
Yeah, probably maybe 2001 or 2, maybe.
Right.
Yeah.
Funny, yeah. Like, I mean, we talk about this all the time, but like nobody ever would have guessed that these cars would do what they've done, And at the time, well, when did they stop making Intrepids? It was probably the early 2000s, hey?
Yeah, they switched body styles, I think in like 98 they switched, and then I think they kind of went to 2000, maybe something, 2002, right? Maybe. Yeah.
Yeah, so like you're kind of right in the mix of things, and you're like, I don't know, like my car is probably, well, it's newer, it's this, it's that, it's whatever. You're like, yeah, no, I'm good, right?
Yeah.
Now, with the foresight we have looking back, you're like, well, shit.
Well, it's also thinking like insurance and just reliability and all of that sort of stuff. So,
right. Yeah, and you're using it as like a 365-day a year driver.
At that time. So I'm like, okay, I'll definitely have to get another vehicle. This is not winter worthy. So,
right.
Yeah.
It's funny, man. Like in saying that, I remember seeing, I can't even remember what it was, but like an older car. Like, let's just imagine for a second you're Intrepid with, say, winter tires on it, right? And all body kitted up, and you know what I mean? Like, it's summer ready, but you got to do what you got to do. It's the only set of wheels you got. You got to drive her in the winter. I seen a kid like that this year, and it might have even been a Civic or something, right? And I was like, fuck, like, I was actually admiring like the shit he was going through, because I'm like, you don't see that much anymore. Right? Like you either buy for a year-round rig, like there's not a whole lot of converting going on and putting a summer car through a winter beating,
It's true.
Yeah. And I'm like, fucking right, buddy. Go get him. You know what I mean? Like,
mode. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, totally right. It's kind of a dying art. And I don't know if it's just, maybe we're a little too nice to the kids these days, and it's like, oh, here's a 5-year-old whatever F-150, and that's all you see on the road. You know what I mean? You just don't see as many kids doing what we were doing, where you had to like struggle through the winter months, you know?
Well, the bastards don't even want to get their driver's licenses anymore. So that's a whole other issue.
Yeah, that's true too. Yeah, I know like, so dropping my oldest off at her school, this high school is grade 9 through 12. So pretty broad base, right? But you get to go through. I actually like dropping her off because you get to go through like the parking lot area, right? And it's like,
Looking at all the moms.
yeah, there's that too, right? But
I should ask Gary about the black SUV and the white SUV.
Oh yeah. Does Pro fit the white SUV profile?
She does drive a white SUV.
I know. So you got to look up the black SUV versus the white SUV mom profile.
Oh, is there
Yeah,
a thing?
Oh yeah.
You know, it's funny you say this because I know that white SUVs and black SUVs grab, like, you know what I mean? Like they're probably worth taking a second look at, if I'm being honest. And
Yeah.
it never fails. Well, actually, it does sometimes, right? You're like, oh, Jesus, why did I do the second look on that one?
Why is the maid driving that today?
Yeah. But yeah, white and black are the two go-tos, right?
Well,
I didn't know there was a thing, though.
We started looking into it today. We were pulling out of the barbecue place, and there's like a lineup. There's a school lineup. Everyone's lining up to grab their kids, and this black SUV, it's like a Tahoe or something. Big glasses. She just pulls out right down the middle, and I'm like, "You're badass." And then,
right,
and then that's how we went down that path. But
yeah, true. I think like black SUV, like probably got one sleeve tattoo, like. Yeah. Ready
maybe
to fuck at any time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Totally. White's maybe a little more Snow White, like, you know, this is a pure gal, right? Black, ready to fucking party.
There you go. So, all right, back to your going through, because I'm curious if you get to see what the students drive.
Yeah, totally. This is the thing. So you go by student parking and it's kind of neat, right? Like I'm like, oh shit, like this brings back some memories. You know, you got a lifted pickup and then you got a lowered car, then you got whatever, right? Something that grandma handed down to the kid or whatever. But there is a good mix of things, you know, which does my heart good. Because to your point about, you know, kids aren't even getting their driver's license anymore, I'm like, all right, this gives me a sense that, you know, there's still some kids holding on to the whole, that same freedom thing that we got from getting our driver's licenses, you know?
Yeah.
Thank God. Because, yeah, like, who, I think it was Gearhead that probably brought this to our attention first, right? And he's like, yeah, you know, like, other than my one daughter, like, the kids aren't even really that interested in driving. And I'm like, what? Come on, man.
I think it's just like right back in the day, no social media and like landlines. Like, yeah, I think like it was like the introduction to pagers and cell phones, but like, you know, you'd have to have money or you're going to a payphone to fucking page somebody or whatever it was. So like having a car, you just drove to whoever it was you were trying to get a hold of and knocked on the door.
Just pull up.
And like now, I was actually talking about this with some friends of mine in Florida. It's like you almost feel weird if you're like in a friend's neighborhood and you just want to pull up and knock on the door. Like that was the norm. And like now it's like, oh man, should I message them first and like let them know? Like otherwise it's like you catch people off guard. Like, is this a surprise visit? Like, what the fuck are you doing?
True.
Like,
or if you grew up in a small enough place like the three of us on the pod did, you're like, oh, I can't get a hold of so-and-so, right? It's like, well, I'll just go do a couple loser laps. I'll run into them, right? Like I know I'll be able to find them. Yeah, it's totally different, right?
Yeah, so it's like, do people like kids don't need to, they just interact on their phones, whatever the hell they're doing, or you know what I mean? So it's like there's no purpose. Why do I need to go drive over there and see them in person?
Yeah. You know, one of the trickiest ones for me, I think we've like at least, well, I think and I hope we've handled it appropriately in that we've had like enough conversations surrounding why we've made some of the decisions, I guess, for our kids that we have. But like my older two do have phones now. They were definitely late to the game, at least as far as their peers were concerned. But our justification to ourselves was there's this app called Team Snap, and or is it Team Snap? Yeah, it is Team Snap, and it's their whole sports schedule. There's a messaging app within that. Parents, kids, everybody can keep track of what the hell's going on and where you got to be. They were kind of the last ones to like get this, and I'm like, oh fuck, okay, we'll get it. And we even came in light too. We're like, okay, these bitches turn into like bricks when they leave the house and they're no longer on Wi-Fi, like no cell plan, no whatever. Then that wasn't enough. We got the bare bones cell plans involved. So anyway, now they have whatever, a little bit of freedom. This is probably, it would be similar, maybe not as big a deal, but like it would have been similar to us getting our driver's licenses, right? Like now you have a connection to the world that you know of, right? Well, anyway, the next thing once you take that step is all these fucking apps that the kids are on, right? And I'm like, listen, guys, hard no, okay? I'll explain myself, but hard no. Why? You know, everybody else has got. I said, it was hard enough for me to get to the point that we are with you guys having these things. And don't get me wrong, there's conveniences that come from it too. You know, you can go, hey, like, what time are you going to be home? Or like, you can actually contact your kid on the fly, right? But I'm like, all this like Snapchat and all that shit, I'm like, negative. Well, anyway, we've held true to this. There's no apps on those kids' phones. And I'm getting now like my kids' teammates going, hey, you know, Gary, can Kaylee get Snapchat? No, like, I'm sorry. And anyway, and it's tough because the kids, like my kids, are going like, Dad, like, I'm kind of a fucking loser here because I don't have Snapchat, right? And I'm like, listen, and I hate to say this because like we had it said to us a million times too, but you're gonna thank me one day for not allowing you to do this, right? And every time I say it, I want to puke in my mouth. It's terrible.
Oh,
But I'm like, to your point, Chris, you know, like kids are just like, I drive my youngest to school and I drive by a couple of kids' bus stops, and every single kid at that bus stop is just chin on their chest, staring at their phone. And I'm like, nobody's like fighting or, you know, like doing kid shit, like throwing rocks at my truck or something, like nothing. No, they're just staring at who knows what. Hopefully, the Infamous Project and KASL Customs on YouTube, but I don't even think they're doing that. They're watching fucking who knows what. You know,
yeah. No, man,
like
that's tough.
like they're living in the whatever metaverse. You know,
Well, maybe if you can put them on like a Kevin thing, like boom, you get 10 minutes. Check your fucking snaps real quick and within that amount of time, and that's it, and you're cut off.
well, I know, right? But I mean, you're dealing with like pretty soft, malleable minds. Like it's a tricky one. Like I don't going back to like our chat on rules and regs surrounding cars and insurance and all that stuff. Like I'm not a big rule guy, right? And I like, and I know I can remember from when I was a kid, sometimes you got to touch the hot stove, right? So, and anytime you got rules, you just want to find ways to break them, which you can maybe make the argument like maybe my kid, no, actually, I know for a fact they can't download shit because they got to go through me to do it. Needs a picture of my face on that phone to do it,
Yeah.
you know?
What I was thinking is like, what if a friend has an old phone and it's like, oh, here's my old phone. You know what I mean? And now they've got like Kevin Gates 2 phones. And you know what I mean? Because like to your point, it'd be okay, now I'm gonna break the rules, and then you're gonna find out that they had a second phone so that they weren't a loser and blah blah blah. You know what I mean? To find that workaround. Like, I know that's what I would do. That's what you would do if you were in their shoes. So, like,
Yeah,
what happens when that day comes?
I know it has crossed my mind. I'm like, I wonder if maybe they've got a profile, say, on their friend's phone, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. It's a real tricky thing, man. I don't know what the answer to all this is.
How
Because
old
you
are
know
they
what?
now?
14, 12, and 8.
Okay, so 14 and 12 have phones.
Mm-hmm.
And do they have the same privileges?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
like if you're gonna wait for 12 or 8 to be 18 or whatever it is, like the oldest one's gonna suffer as
The
you're
hardest.
waiting for the rules to adapt for the younger ones.
Yeah.
So what age did you set for the threshold for them to access these social media apps?
Kind of go buck wild or whatever. Buddy, I don't really have one. I'd like to keep it this way as long as possible.
Like no dating forever.
Well, oh, dude, did I not tell you what I did? What I did? And well, I guess I should wait for you to answer. Did I not tell you what I did?
No.
Okay, this is pretty good actually, and it actually kind of goes back to these fucking phones too. So I don't know where I came up with this. Like I literally pulled it out of the ether on the fly because after my kids got their own numbers and stuff, and they're like, "Hey, is it okay if I give my friend my number?" Yeah, that's fine, right? Well, shortly thereafter, "Hey, Dad, is it okay if some boy has asked me for my number?" And I'm like, "Holy fuck, how am I going to deal with this?" Right? Yeah. And this is a dad of 3 daughters, which I should pause this story and maybe fill in the blank as to probably why I have 3 daughters. My mom warned me when I was young and being an idiot, "You're going to have daughters one day, guy." I'm like, "Fuck you, Mom. What are you talking about? You don't know anything, right?" Yeah, 3 daughters later, here we are. So, I thought of this on the fly, or I pulled it out of the ether. I don't know what I did, but I'm like, "Hey, I tell you what. Yeah, they can have your number, but you can't give them your number. You got to give them my number, and they got to call me and introduce themselves to me. And then I'll go, yep, here's Kaylee's number or whatever, right?" And she was like, "Okay, cool." I'm like, "Huh, sweet." Right. So a couple months go by, nothing. And then Kaylee comes home. She goes, "Dad, I think you're getting a call." I'm like, "Oh, really?" Right? Yeah. This guy, and okay, yeah, whatever. I'll wait for his call. Anyway, no call. So meanwhile, in the background, now, it's kind of like I was saying earlier, the cat and mouse game with the cops and us when we were growing up, right? Me and the wife are the fucking cops. The
Yeah.
kids are mice. So I'm like, "Hey, honey, did you hear the deal here? Apparently I'm getting a phone call." "Oh shit, really?" Yeah. And in the meantime, she's a little bit more investigative, if you will. So she'll whatever bail into the kids' phones and try to figure out what the fuck's going on, who they're talking to. And I'm like, this just feels yucky to me. I'm the type of guy, like, if my wife says, "Hey, go grab that in my purse," I'm like, no, here's your purse. You grab me the thing. I don't fucking want to know what's in there. That's just not me, right? So anyway, she busts into Kaylee's phone. She's like, "Hey, you recognize this number?" I'm like, "I don't recognize any of those numbers." "Well, I was reading through the text and I get the sense this might be a fella." I'm like, "Motherfucker," right? So anyway, this goes on and then it ends up coming out in the wash. And how I got it to come out in the wash, I maybe feel a little bit bad about doing this to her, but I just riding down the road with her one day, I said, "Hey, buddy, I just want to let you know, like, I trust you with everything, like my heart, my soul. Like I,
Oh,
yeah,
you're the devil.
oh, dude, knowing full well the wife had done on the recon too, right?" And I could see her start to well up. I'm like, "Oh, I think I got the nerve I needed," right? She's like, I've been talking to some boy. I'm like, you little shit, right?
Oh,
So, anyways, this guy, whoever this guy was, kind of came and went. And then all of a sudden, she comes home from school one day. She goes, Dad, you're going to get a call. But here's the thing. This guy kind of cornered me out of nowhere. I gave him your number. I said, here's the deal. You got to call my dad. She goes, I don't really like him, but I think he's serious. Like, I think he's going to call. And dude, funny enough, I can't believe I didn't bring this up on the pod. We must have been deep down some other rabbit hole because that little fucker called me when we were on the pod.
oh no
And
shit.
so, yeah. And so anyway, we finish up on the pod that night and I go up and talk to her. I'm like, hey, do you recognize this number? She goes, that's totally him. I said, Kay, the fact that you don't like this guy, he's already impressed me that he's phoned, right? Like this takes some brass balls. And I'm like, you don't like him? Like I kind of do. I don't know what he looks like, but you know. So anyway, yeah. I don't know. That's a couple of the things we've done. And
So hold on.
yeah.
She doesn't really like him, but she like, was this like some self-validation test for her? Because she wanted to just like see if the guy had the balls to call you. It wasn't about getting to know him better. It was, oh, let's play along and see if this guy will actually call my dad.
Honestly, I got the sense it was more like he caught her off guard and she was like, I don't know what to say. Here's my dad's number or whatever. Here's the quick little, background on why you got to call him. And yeah, that's the sense I got from it.
So did you call him
But
back?
again, I didn't because you got to think, right? Like now we're getting into like 2025 and the world's pretty weird. Like if I called and went, who is this? Blah, blah, blah. Now I've called a minor. You know what I mean?
Oh God.
At least that's where my head was kind of at the time. And to be honest, I'm the one that holds all the fucking cards here. I'm the dad of this gal that you're interested in. So if you're that interested, call me back or leave me a message. He didn't. No.
Okay. All right.
Could you fucking imagine though, dude? I know if I was interested enough in a gal to have to call her dad, like I would be shaking like a leaf leaving a voicemail at 14. What do you say? Hello. Like I'd be fucked.
Maybe wondering, yeah, at 14, don't know if the balls have dropped yet. Maybe it'd be like a little high pitch voice.
Exactly. So yeah, I don't know. I think about these things quite often, Kev. I don't know. There's sure people have written books, but there's no real rule book on it all. You just try to make the most of it all, right? And I'm like, the way I've explained to my girls that, why I think this whole phone number things or like giving my number is a good idea. I said, like, this literally will like thin the herd quick for decent, wholehearted people that actually have good intentions. I think it would anyway,
Yeah.
Is it a little weird and over the top? Yeah, maybe you can make that argument, right? But like, I'm not gonna, interrogate you. Like just the fact that you called me is enough to show that you've got good intentions,
It's a good filter.
Yeah, right. And again, I sold it to my daughter like, you're going to thank me one day for this, right? Fuck you, Dad. You're a dickhead.
I mean, they used to do that back in our day. Oh, you got to come over and meet my dad, my uncle, all that sort of stuff, and you got to go through the gamma. So,
well,
if you make it through there,
I was old school. I asked my wife's dad, so my girlfriend at the time, for her hand. You know what I mean? Like, obviously, when we were just getting to know each other, I didn't have to phone him or whatever, like I've done to my daughters. But when I wanted to ask her to marry me, I went over and talked to her dad. Like that was the thing you did.
Do you have any like rules on makeup?
The kids, this is funny too, right? Because makeup's a pretty big thing for the wife.
Yeah, so that's why I was curious.
Yeah. I I've tried to just make fun of it enough, and also in the background, like having real heavy chats with my wife, like, listen, because truthfully, I don't have any problem with makeup, but it's got to be classy. And I really don't want my kids hiding behind it. You know what I mean? We've all heard stories. Fuck, my wife used to have a friend, dude. She would literally set her alarm to get up before her husband to put her makeup on because she was so petrified that he'd see her in like normal status.
Right.
Like, my kids are not going to be like that. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
it, yeah. Like,
Any
it's
weird clothing stuff?
no, they've stayed pretty straight and narrow on all that stuff, especially when I compare them to the group. Like when I'm dropping the kids off at school, I'm like, holy fuck, does that kid even have shorts on? And it's just the shorts are so short, the fucking hoodie covers them, you know, you're like, whoa.
Yeah.
And just like when we were kids, the short tops are a thing, right? Tank top shit, which I'm like, I don't know. Like, is that really necessary for school? Like, really? Like, throw the
But
hoodie on and
honestly, I'd be inclined to think that the fact that they are engaged in sports, it adds discipline to their to their lifestyle, and I think that probably makes a bit of a difference.
I'd like to think so, Kev. I mean, you know, whatever, we wanted them when they were young to get in and try sports and be active and stuff. But like long goal, I couldn't agree more. Like if you're busy, it's the whole like idle hands of the devil's playground, right? If you don't have anything to do on a Friday night, you'll find some shit, you know?
Yeah.
So I agree with you. It seems though it's worked in our favor, and the kids have excelled in their sports too, which means that, you know, you got to commit more time, which is again on that front a good thing. Yeah, I don't know. It's honest to God, it's like the weirdest. It's the best and the weirdest thing that you can go through is being a parent, because all of a sudden you get something in your life that you think you've cared about something, but you haven't until you've had a kid, you know? And then, like I said, there's no real rule book, right? And depending on how serious you want to take all this and what type of human you want to raise, the rest is up to you, you know?
Well, I have to say, Mr. Meow is one quite well grown and distinguished little feline.
A little yappy at times, but yeah, he's good. Fuck, he kills me. I always love when Britt posts the stories of him talking up a storm. I haven't seen one in a while, actually.
Yeah, no, he's still talking. Actually, I've got a couple messages like I miss hearing Mr. Meow in the background. So maybe I'll have to bring him out here for a pod one night.
Yeah, well, since you moved to the shop and not the home office there, you don't hear him as much anymore.
Oh fuck, Brittany's overtaken that with all these gadgets and shit now. So funny little thing, right? So Lewis and Laura, obviously great friends, and we were just in Florida. And Laura started complaining to me, like, your fucking wife talking to my husband about all this crunchy fucking diet shit that she's on. And Lewis, like, throwing out our plastic cutting boards, and now we got glass and this and that and the next thing. So, like, just like ranting in a friendly way, right? So, Brittany, like, with her newer job, which isn't really new now, but you know, she's remote, she works from home, and Laura is the same way. And Laura has all these fucking fancy monitors and automated desks and shit. So when we were there the other week, showing Brittany all this fancy office equipment. So guess what? It's not the fucking UPS truck for me showing up every day, it's for her. So it's like new desk, new monitor, new laptop, new tiny narrow treadmill that fits in between the desks so you can treadmill and work at the same time. So I messaged Lewis. I'm like, your fucking wife now has my house outfitted with all these fucking gadgets thanks to your wife. And he's like, "Welcome to my hell, motherfucker." It's funny.
That's
I
funny.
got booted out of that office. It wasn't necessarily a voluntary thing. It's whatever. It's fine out here. But that's her little oasis, which is completely fine.
That's funny. Because Britt, well, okay, it sounds like she's just as easily influenced as much as she can influence somebody else. Because like I know I seen it on her page somewhere. She was talking about, or she had posted a video of like what happens when you flush a toilet if you don't close the lid. This has stuck with me. I'll have a shit and I'm like, oh fuck, right? Like I'm just splitting seconds in half.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I'm splitting seconds in half to get the lid down before the shit particles are everywhere, you know? And it's all because of your wife. She got in my kitchen on that. I'm like, fucking Brittany. Like, I'll think of her every time I put the toilet seat down because it was her.
Oh.
Yeah, man. The weirdest shit, you know?
Oh.
I've never I like my wife will kind of get on those kicks sometimes too, right? And as I think a lot of gals will, like when it comes to, well, this is more along the lines of diet, but you know, like my thing is you can only really go so far, like with what you can control, right? Sure, you can, like, it's one of those things that doesn't really have an end in sight. You know, like if you want to say get on a more protein and vegetable based diet, okay, you do that, and then it's like, well, where'd the vegetables come from? And where'd the fucking meat come from? It's like, okay, now we're, you know, and then maybe you go one step further. Now we're in the grass fed territory, and now we're in the organic territory. Okay, how organic are we talking? And how grass fed are we talking? And how, like, what air did they fucking breathe before they got shot? It's like, oh, guys, whoa, you know, like you can get real out of hand with this stuff fast.
Oh, it's true, man. And yeah, it's a good analogy to that, right? Is because my diet that I'm on now is all about no carbs and everything else. And, I asked my nutritionalist, like, can I cut, I mean, something else out to do this or whatever? And, he came back and pretty much said, like, you can't starve cancer. He's like, you could be as keto as you want to be. Your body's still going to convert shit into sugar on you. He's like, but you can sure as shit feed cancer. So, you know what I mean? It's one of those things. Like, it doesn't matter how far you're going to try and go down one way, like whether your body is going to do it naturally on your behalf or whatever, there's only so far that you can go.
Yeah. I know. I remember, I don't know where I heard this, but I remember hearing it somewhere that cancer cells like thrive in a sugary, acidic environment kind of thing, right? And I heard a pod the other day, actually. Sean Ryan had this gal on that was talking about, or he'd asked her that, but she was like, a metabolic, whatever, high-end doctor. And he asked her about the sugar, and she said, no, like it's actually false. But to your point, like if you've already got a shitty environment started, they will thrive in it, but like, it's not like, you eat a candy bar and you're going to get more cancer kind of thing. You know what I mean? It's, which I found kind of surprising. It sort of shifted my way of looking at it, but, that whole keto thing is interesting. So I used to work with a guy that, they had their, oldest, but I think he was their only kid they had at the time. He was, I don't know a real good way of saying it, but like less fortunate, right? And this little guy from the day he was born struggled with seizures. Like I'm talking 40, 50 a day. Like these guys had their hands full,
Yeah.
And it wasn't until they were at the children's hospital one day and a doctor crossed paths with them and said, hey, are you guys, the so-and-so family? Yep. Hey, listen, I've got this thing that I'm kind of working on. If you guys would be interested in trying it out or whatever. And long story short, it was the ketogenic diet. And so these guys went to like great lengths to get their child into ketosis, which if this is news to anybody out there, it's like essentially you get your body to run on fat instead of sugar. And at the time, I was living a pretty clean lifestyle. And I thought, hey, like, because they'd get them to pee on these strips and you could tell based on your pee if you're in ketosis or not. I said, hey, bring a couple of them strips in. Like, I can't remember the last time I had any sugar. So I'd be interested to know if maybe I'm there and I don't even know it, right? Anyway, I peed on strips for a week. Fuck, I wasn't anywhere near ketosis. Like, I think to get your body into a state of ketosis is like heavy duty lifting.
Yeah.
You hear people kick around like it's kind of turned into this whole, it's almost the new gluten-free, right? Oh, I'm keto or I'm whatever. I'm like, no, you're not. Like, you're not ketosis level keto, but you're probably eating that way kind of thing.
I think
right?
it all comes down to moderation. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
like, I think there's a lot of value because like I'm not keto, but I'm like trying to keep my glycemic index as low as possible to avoid sugar spikes. And like that I could understand, right? So you're getting this balance, so you're not like, as he would call it, the gummy bear diet.
Yeah.
Right? So it's just kind of, you do stuff in moderation and you avoid spikes or excessive things. And it's about, like, because we hear it all the time, life is about balance. And
Yeah.
it doesn't matter if it's your diet or if it's your lifestyle or whatever. It's always about, that's why the pH level, the scale exists. You know what I mean? Looking for neutrality. So
Yeah.
I think that's the thing. Like, people just need to stop, what's the word? Over glorifying. Actually, there's a word. There's some weird, whatever, hyper, whatever, focusing on these fancy new terms and whatever. Because it's like, it's just as bad as those like vibrating fucking machines that would vibrate your fat and say, oh, this is burning your fat on your behalf. You know what I mean? You're going to lose weight on the old infomercials.
Mr. Holes.
You know what I mean? It's all, it's just a different way of selling off stuff and people making money.
I think so too, bud. And the one thing that we all know, but nobody seems to give enough attention to or intention to is like just, maintaining an even keel, like stress wise and everything else. I don't know, through some strike of luck, I feel as though I've been able to I'm better than I ever was. And you can attest to this, Chris, because you tell the story about getting to Detroit and our room, our Airbnb key not working. And you're like, how the fuck are you maintaining calm right now? Right. Like, yeah, I don't know. I think there's a place you can, or a point you can hit in life. And it's a combination of things that you got to have in work into the fold. But like, I think it's being like doing something you're passionate about, like at least for as much of your day that you possibly can, or even if you're not, knowing that you are going to spend time doing that thing for an extended period of time. Like, there really truly is something special about that. Whereas, if you just feel like you're pissing your life away working for the man or whatever, or you hate your job or you fucking whatever, hate your better half, like I think that's probably like feeding yourself candy bars for a living, like you're not setting yourself up for success at all.
No, man, stress is a huge factor, and like environmental stuff, right? It's like filling up a bucket full of shit. You know what I mean? Like, whether you're feeding it, it's your diet or your lifestyle or your work or mental or whatever. Like, you know what I mean? It's all going to the same place, which is your body at the end of the day. And once that gets full, if you can't empty that stuff out, then yeah, you're going to have an issue. So,
Yeah.
and I think to your point, like everyone has been in a position, I would think, that they're not happy with their current situation, or whether it's the job or relationship or whatever it is. And it's amazing how, like, just an afternoon or just a couple hours of a week, if you like push yourself to do something that you wouldn't have done because you're in a fucking bad mood because you're so upset about your life, how that does make a difference if you force yourself to do it and you're glad that you did it in the end. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And we talk about it just like with our project cars. You know what I mean? You just do that little bit, and it's like you can see it, it's fulfilling. But whatever, man, go fucking for a walk somewhere or a hike. Or what I've realized is like a zoo or animals is probably the most calming thing for me, that allows me to like, because it's like people are aggravating in a lot of cases. You know what I mean? People fucking
Yeah.
suck. Like it's just the generalization of the world. But like an animal, it's sort of, I guess, how some people see kids. I don't see them that way. But you know what I mean? It's like um they're so, you know what I mean? Like
Free
they're alive.
spirited.
Yeah, they're free
Yeah.
spirited. Like they feel they whatever in their own way. And so like for me, that's like a great little escape. So I think it's important that people at least find out what those little things are to like take them away from, the bad moments, if you will.
Oh, it's so true, man. If I agree on the animal thing, and like even something as simple as if you got a pet, like we got a dog, and if you sit there with any sort of intention and just pay attention to him for a bit, you're like, huh, like you have fuck all going on in life right now, and you ain't worried about shit. You know what I mean? Like, whereas if I try to sit down and just go, I'm just going to stare at the wall for a minute, or I'm going to, I don't know, bark at somebody walking by or whatever, I'd be like, what the fuck am I doing with myself right now? Like, this is crazy. But he's good. Like, he's happy as a pig and shit.
You're making me laugh because I just finished rewatching Married with Children, which took quite a bit of time because I didn't realize how many fucking, I think it was the longest running sitcom for like of its time, right? And there was all these episodes where Buck the dog was getting old and like someone was narrating Buck's thoughts.
Right.
So it is so true. It's like, what are those animals thinking? You know what I mean? Or like what's going through their minds, and like
Yeah.
the entertainment value. And yeah, you just look at the cat, and the cat just sit and look out the window and listen to birds for hours, and that's great.
Yeah.
I heard
I think we
something
can.
the other day where they anticipate that AI is going to be able to sort of translate what animals are thinking and technically saying in
Huh.
probably the next few years. So that should be interesting.
I know there's there's someone or something that is claimed to have done this with like the grunts and the moans of babies.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they can translate that into like what they need or what they whatever. So, but see, the funny thing with that, Kev, this would kind of like it'd almost be like all three of us sitting here trying to argue over who's more hungover. Like,
Yeah.
will you ever know how hungover I am? Like, no. And I won't know how hungover you are. Nor will I ever know what the fucking dog is thinking. So even if the AI fills in the blank for me, it's like, well, I guess maybe he looks kind of happy right now. Like maybe he's happy. I don't know, right?
And you know what? As cool as that would be, I think it would ruin it.
Yeah.
I agree.
Like the
Yeah.
mystery and the wonder and you know what I mean? It's because it's like you're trying to telepathically connect.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And I don't know. There's something to be said about that. Like it's almost like you're awake like a dream, right? And you're trying to like you're creating your own little story. So if you got
Yeah.
something else that's just fucking talking about, it might as well as be a robot.
Yeah. I actually listened to another podcast the other day. Again, it was a Sean Ryan guy. I haven't heard the whole thing, but the gal he had on is talking to these kids that I guess they're autistic in some way, shape, or form. the commonality amongst all of them is they cannot communicate, like at least in the way that we're communicating right now verbally. They can move their hands and stuff, but anyway, they've found ways that I don't know. It's something to do with like poking holes through paper, and like that translates into what it is that they're trying to say. And anyway, this gives me the heebie-jeebies. This gets deep real quick, like where they can actually like communicate with people that aren't there. Like really fucking wild shit, and animals, and like
So they're
all
like
of this stuff.
mediums.
They're like a Ouija board.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. And so, you know, what made me think of this is you saying like, you know, sitting there watching your cat or your dog or whatever, right? And it's like, there's definitely something to be said about like, you know, air quote, energy in the room, right? Like you walk in, hey buddy, hey buddy, hey buddy, right? Or like, you know, who did this? Like who shit on the floor or whatever, right? Like you can set a tone in a room quick, but like this takes it to a whole nother level. This pod I was listening to, it was pretty wild.
Crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, man, I think the more that you can find yourself in whatever that happy space is, right? Like if it's playing checkers or fucking working on your car, that's where mine is. You know, like I can get lost for hours. I know we talked about it when you're horsing around with the yellow car, you know, like just having that time doing that thing that just lets, I don't know, your hard drive defragment, you know? It's key. Like, and I think the other side of that too is when you have something on the go that's yours, like it keeps you motivated, you know, like maybe as you're leaving the shop that night, you're like, okay, I'm done. I had enough. Or you got to tell yourself to. That's usually a pretty good sign you're doing something you like, right?
Yeah.
And then, you know, you hit the pill, you're like, oh shit, I'm going to need this from Amazon, or oh, I'm going to need that tomorrow. And this, like, you have that thing to look forward to tomorrow. That's key too. Whereas, like, if you got nothing going on tomorrow, you're like, huh, well, maybe I'll just sit up tonight and watch 14 episodes of whatever. You know what I mean? Like, and you start, while you're watching those episodes, your head's going like, you're really pissing your life away right now. Like you're not even trying to unwind. You're just literally trying to burn time.
Yeah.
That's dangerous.
Yeah. No, if you're trying to speed things up, that's the first red flag.
Totally.
Yeah.
But then, you know, you think about the other end of that spectrum, which is trying to slow time down. Like say when we were trying to get the shit box finished, right?
Yeah.
Like that's a stress, different kind of stress, you know, because you are doing something you want to do, but you're dealing with deadlines and whatever. And like, yeah, we were stressed the night before, you know? But yeah, I don't know. I guess to your point, like finding that balance in between, the neutrality of it all, right?
Yeah.
And definitely not letting shit get to you. I had a moment today where I know, like, at other times in my life, I would have just had my guts turned inside out and I would have been fucking stressed all night about it. And I was just like, no, you know what? I'm just going to let this one play out, you know, like just see what happens. And, cause like really, I kept telling myself, like, why would I worry about it right now? Cause anything I'm going to worry about is an assumption of what the outcome may be. I'm like, fuck it. Like life. I wrote this, I pulled it up here. I texted it to my wife because it was another pod I was listening to. And it was, what was said was, don't think about the end of the game, play the game. And that simple sentence resonated with me all day, right? I was like, nobody starts a video game and goes like, you know, what's the end like? You're like, no, I got to like get past this level and then I got to kill that boss and I got to, you know what I mean? Like work your way through. Like why? But we do, we literally spend so much time worrying about the end.
Yeah. Well, it's the whole thing, right? It's the, don't worry about the destination. destination, enjoy the journey.
Yeah.
Dude, I
So-
know. I remember you saying that, and you know, I know other people have said it trillions of times, but it really truly resonates with you if you let it. You know, if
Yeah.
you go like, no shit, because yeah, well, I mean, all the driving we do with the kids and sports and stuff, right? It's always like, fuck, you know, we got to be there whatever time. It's like, hey, we're driving through places that like people literally travel thousands of miles to look at. Like, how about you just fucking enjoy what these people are paying big money to come see? Like, it's right there. It's in your backyard. Like, just enjoy it. Enjoy the
Yeah.
ride, you know? But we don't, unless you remind yourself of, you know, it's good to do that.
I think we experienced that a little bit when we worked in Dubai. Just, I mean, you know, we had our nose to the grind quite a bit. Just, I mean, there's always something on fire day in, day out, and you know, everything was a crisis. And so we would, you know, we'd get through it, and you know, the whole world's going on outside, and just like this beautiful place, and just everything and anything that you can imagine was there at you know, within walking distance essentially. And all of a sudden, you know, it'd be 8 o'clock at night, we wrapped up whatever and walk outside, and it's just like, oh yeah, we're here. Like, I think that's
Yeah.
something that I sort of reflected on the first couple of years that I was there. As soon as you kind of walk out those doors of the office, and you're like, oh wow, like, you know, you look up, you see the Burj Khalifa, you see like, you know, just and it's like 45 degrees, and you know, it's just yeah, every day. So you know, that kind of thing, it's just sometimes you have to do that, but stop and smell.
I know what you mean.
So
I know what you mean, Kevin. It's a weird thing because like 100 people could walk out that door, and all 100 of them could just be like, oh shit, okay, you know, like going through the motions. I got to go home. I got to eat. I got to whatever. But it's that, like, it's such a simple thing, and it's almost like you don't even need to try to do it. Like if you just walk out that door and you look up and you're like, holy shit,
yeah,
like I'm in Dubai right now.
Yeah, I
You
gotta
know?
say, like I had a good amount of nights, probably after several whiskeys, where I'd have to walk home,
Yeah.
and home being the Burj Khalifa. And I would get like these moments, right? Like I get there and I'd get to like the fountains and like the steps to like walk to the residence side of things. And like just look up at this building. Like you're watching it, you can look at it from anywhere miles and miles away because the thing is the tallest building in the world, right? And it's just, yeah, you get like this come to Jesus moment, if you will. It's like it's pretty unreal. And it's
Yeah.
just like those moments you get, right? That's like, yeah, you got to like be thankful for what you have, or even like the thought of it, because especially there, right? Because we had all these employees and people that like from third world countries that were making fractions of what we were making.
Yeah.
And still found ways to, like, they were fortunate and glad that they were there and, you know, sending money home and all those things. But it's yeah, it's really interesting. I think that that's, you know, and I've said it on a lot of pods before, that travel, like if there's anything you're going to indebt yourself for, do it on travel.
Yeah.
Because it comes down, it's the journey, it's the experience. Like even if your trip is horrible, like it's rainy or fuck, they lose your luggage or some bullshit, I still guarantee you in the grand scheme of things, once all it's done, it's still going to be something that will help define who you are or who you become in the end, like hands down.
100%.
Yeah. Agreed. I know it's maybe another way of saying it would be like if you could spend more time of your day looking through like your eyes as say a 6-year-old, you know, like where everything is just whoa, like look at that, and versus like an adult, right? Like, oh sure, like it was exciting the first couple times I walked into this building, but like meh, you know what I mean? Like rinse and repeat. Let's do it again. Get on my 14 elevators to go to my floor and whatever. But as a kid, you're like, I get to ride in a fucking elevator. Like, this is amazing. You know?
It's like Buddy the Elf.
Well, you know,
Yeah.
and it's, you know, that saying, and anybody listening will know this one, right? Like, if you don't look back at your car after you've parked it, you're driving the wrong car.
Yeah.
That same thing applies for where you live in your home. And like, if you are not happy going home every day, whether it's the house you're in, the city that you live in, the country you live in, change it. And here's another saying that actually we had the boss of the bosses had a saying, he wrote it down once: change or change will make you.
Yeah.
And that is one that resonated with me to this day, because obviously I remember the saying from 10 plus years ago. And that's exactly it. Like, if you're stuck in this thing and you're just constantly complaining and complaining, like, you might complain about your job, but like, you should find a way to leave that job, because that job will fucking fire your ass so fast tomorrow because they need to cut costs or whatever. They don't care about you.
Yep.
Like, so take control of what you're in control of, which is yourself, because you make your own choices.
Yeah, man. So true. Hey, I know it's a funny thing too. Like, I think a good way of measuring like how much you're appreciating life is like when you start seeing others, maybe like stuck in those old ways. Right. And funny enough, I mean, I've come to the realization that I just don't think they know that they're stuck either, right? Like, you can get so embedded in that rut that you don't even know you're in it anymore. You just think this is the way it's supposed to be. And I don't know. That's a weird one for me, because I can remember being younger and like, you know, chasing a career or whatever you want to call it. And you know, like just meeting someone that had that like sense of calm about them. And I was always like, how the fuck are they so calm? Right. You know, like what are they doing that I'm not? Right.
Yeah, like
And
I say about you.
what's that?
Like what I say about you.
Yeah. And I think it's because they had probably had this sort of realization, right? Like this sort of aha moment.
Well, I think there's
And
aha moments, and I think it's, you know, surround yourself around like or similar minded people that want the same things, right? Or like, I think mentors are actually important. I think like, it's kind of however you want to look at it, like who needs a mentor or whatever, whoever it might be. But like, I think we all throughout life need someone to look up to. You know what I mean? Or like, or maybe take certain elements from, whether it's characteristics or what, you know, what they're doing, or you know, it's just you need something else, because otherwise you could get stuck because you don't know any different, which is fine. I mean, a lot of people start chasing like, oh, I don't know what I want to do with my life. I don't know if you know what I mean? I haven't figured it out yet. Well, sometimes it's trial and error. Find out what you don't like. Like, start there and don't do that. You know, like, it's like the whole analogy of like, oh, it hurts when I do this. Well, fucking don't do that.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, it's true. Yeah. Sometimes you gotta, whatever, right? Kiss a few frogs to get to the princess. And well, that's another one, right? Like, don't just sit stagnant. Like you said, like, even if you don't think you're going to like it, well, confirm that, especially if you got nothing better to do in the moment. Right. But you know, to your point about like mentors and stuff, I think surrounding yourself with people that you look up to, people that challenge you, like people that actually add some substance to your life. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, shit, still to this day, you know, like as all of us being buddies, like, you know, one of us will say something and the other one goes like, no shit. Hey, so that's the way they navigate that component of life or whatever it is. Right. And, but then, you know, I think there's people out there with friendships where they're like, yeah, like, I don't really know what we got in common. Like there's none of that. You know what I mean? There's no addition to who it is that they are trying to be in life. Right. Yeah, and I don't think those people are adding a whole lot. If you
Well,
got
those
any
are
of
the
them in your
ones.
life.
Here's another slogan: if you can't add, don't subtract.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I know it sounds odd, but there's a lot of people who love to subtract.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
like
very
misery
true.
loves company, you know what I mean? And it's just like you can't associate, you know what I mean? And we hear it a lot too. Like there's those slogans, right? Like friends typically they don't want to see you succeed, or who you think your friends are, so to speak, um, and all of those things. And like there's a lot of truths, and like obviously those statements wouldn't exist, right? But yeah, I think that the people thing is so important. And I think talking to older people just in general, right? And like the people who you wouldn't normally talk to, start a conversation, see what they have to say. Like
Oh yeah.
I love hearing what old dudes have to say or their experiences and stuff. Like it might not be, it's whatever. It'd be like the Bible, you know what I mean? Don't take it word for word, but like take the value in what's being told to you and apply it to your current situation.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys
Yeah.
watch much of Cletus McFarlane, but he talks a little bit here and there about his business mentor, and just how there's a lot of YouTubers, but they're all kind of at the same level as him, and so to go and sort of collaborate and have those type of conversations, it's not adding the value that he's looking at. As Chris was saying, talk to the people that are older. So his sort of philosophy is to look at those older people that have actually been there, done that, and gain that experience from them and gain that knowledge. And I think not necessarily in the YouTube world, but in the business sense. But I think that's super important.
Huh. I have I guess I can't say that I'm a religious watcher, but caught enough of his stuff, you know what I mean? It's funny you say that though, Kev, because I don't know that I've ever caught him like on any sort of deep thought-based conversation. I would be interested to hear from a
I
guy
think
like that though.
he was recently on the Dale Jr. podcast, and that one he goes into quite a bit of stuff there that is kind of interesting. Gives you a little bit more of a background perspective on just the challenges that he's gone through, but that might
Right.
be relatable in some senses.
Totally, man. He's actually a guy like I'm genuinely curious about his story. I know like little vague pieces, right? Like he was part of that 1320 crew, I think, and um his whole Cletus character kind of caught on, and then he whatever
Yeah.
ran off and did his own thing. But yeah, I'd love to hear the soup to nuts story from him. And or I love hearing what people think and how they see the world, like there's never a time I've ever listened to anyone talk on stuff like this where I haven't taken something away and added to my life. Actually, a neat interview I heard the other day. Rogan had Billy, is it Billy Cargan? He's like the lead singer of the Smashing Pumpkins on. What a fucking neat character he is. Like really neat to listen to, and like super deep thinker. Doesn't seem like a whole lot gets to him, you know what I mean? Just maintains even keel. He actually, I was sort of disheartened because I was hoping he'd get into like talking a little bit about like what it was like to be in a band like that in the 90s, and they did a little bit at the very end. But yeah, I like I don't know, you need to whatever surround yourself with good folks. And actually, I've found too, like, I've gotten pretty good, at least maybe I'll get better at it. I don't know. Or maybe this is the pinnacle. I'm not sure. But like, I can definitely say that I'm pretty quick to be able to like sift through people and, like whether or not I want to spend more time with you kind of thing. Like, that has definitely gotten honed for me, whereas it used to take me a lot longer. But like, funny enough, met some folks the other day, and I was telling the wife about it. I'm like, there was a couple things that were said that, got me a little off, but like everything else was great. I'm like, I think we'll give him another chance. You know what I mean? Like we'll give it another go.
Yeah.
That's the thing. I mean, like you should never judge a book by its cover, you know, like all the old cliches. And not that this was like a cover judging thing, but there was just those couple things in the first encounter where I was like, I know a couple people that say that, and that's weird, or they end up being weird people, but you never know, right? Like, fuck, maybe they're the salt of the earth. And if you don't give them that second go around, you'll never know. But there's also people you meet and you're just like, okay, like you're very surface level, kind of shallow. I don't think that either of us are going to fucking, or maybe you'll gain more from me than I will from you. And I'm not into that sort of relationship either. I need a good back and forth.
Here's my dad's number. Call him.
Yeah, you need to go through the interview process. Well, maybe that's a good point to wrap on, hey boys?
Yeah, no, I think so too.
Yeah. Well, Kev, thanks for telling us about the Intrepid.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not proud. I mean, you know, it's good memories, but yeah, we'll see what happens. In the process of building something right now, but a little bit of a not a collaboration, but in memory of my dad. He actually purchased a 75 Pontiac Astra somewhere in the middle of Alberta. So he was doing some long haul stuff back in late 79, and he early 80s actually, sorry, and he kept coming across this Vega wagon sitting somewhere in Alberta, and just basically pulled in one day and said, "What do you want for it?" I said, $100. He loaded it in the back of his truck, brought it back to Ontario, and it, you know, pretty much for 30 some odd years it sat. We worked on it here and there. He passed away back in 2014, and so from then I'm like, okay, I got to get this done. So yeah, it's been a bit of a slow project, but yeah, doing the old LS swap and doing a full chassis and stuff like that. So eventually that'll come around. But
Woodward 2026.
Yeah, Woodward 2026. We'll see. So yeah,
buddy.
Yeah.
Oh, I love shit like that, especially when there's that sentimental side to it too. Like that's cool. Talk about something like we just have been, right? Like something that like keeps you going. Like, because depending on, I don't consider myself to be a religious person, but I'd like to think that maybe those that we've cared about or known that are no longer with us, right? Like, I don't know where they are, but maybe they're somewhere. And, as you're sitting there going like, yeah, I don't want to work on that car. Oh, I'll get after it. Don't worry. You know what I mean? Like, and just kind of that memorial side of things too, right? Like they live on through that car. Like that's cool.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah. Okay. Well, you should have brought that up earlier. We could have dug into this a little bit, but next time.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah. Next time, bring a better chair. My this one's hurting a little bit.
Ass is falling asleep.
Yeah, definitely. I got to soften up for the guests a little bit. So.
Right. Go try old Brit's treadmill. You can work on her computer and.
Oh man, I had bought one from Amazon, and I used it for about 3.5 minutes. It stutter stepped, and I just about face planted into the window. So that was the end of that. I packed that thing up and sent it back home. But good luck to Brittany. So
is it okay? I gotta know. Is it a standing operation? Like
that's just like a walking pad.
It's like a little platform thing that's got like you can put it on a like manual pins to like incline it a certain slope if you want, and it just spins there on the spot. And the ironic part is it's called Why Run.
Oh, okay. Because I'm just trying to think. Like this almost seems like one of those like rub your tummy, pat your head things. Like I think I'd be a disaster trying to type an email.
Yeah, I guess if you're walking, you'd get used to it. I remember actually, I don't know why I had a treadmill at the house, but I would play Guitar Hero on the treadmill as like a challenge for myself.
No
And it
shit.
took a little bit, but like you get the hang of it because like you can generally walk and do other things. But yeah,
Yeah, I mean, I guess we've all walked and text or something, right? But I don't know. I'm just like I was thinking it might be something where you sit, like an old folks thing, right? You sit and just kind of move your feet.
no, this is stand-up desk, treadmill, little thing, and like I'd be just more concerned about because it's very narrow. So if you just accidentally step to the right a little bit, and then I don't know. I hope I don't catch her like fucking ass into the wall or something one day.
She gets into the speed wobble.
Yeah.
And it's all over.
You imagine a mid-conference call, you fucking toe pick it, boom, fucking keyboards flying.
I've been on a few calls with people on the treadmill, and it's so distracting. Like their heads are bobbing everywhere, and I was like, "Can you just stand still?"
No shit, hey. Fucking world we're living in. It's unbelievable.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, anyway, on that note, thanks everybody for listening. We hope you enjoyed our ramble. This one was definitely all over the place.
Oh yeah.
Oh.
Good luck with the title.
Yeah, enjoy.